You with vitamin C? Let me help your baby to drink vitamin C. Vitamin C? Vitamin C?
Can we mute ourselves? Good evening, everybody. Can we mute ourselves?
Good evening.
Please, can we mute ourselves? We're supposed to. The mic is supposed to be on mute. I don't know why we are not. Hello, Anu. Hello, yeah. Let me go and look at it again. She called me.
One had actually paid, let's say, rent from January 2019 to December 2019. So another one should actually come on board, let's say, by January. So by December 31st, right? By December 31st, there was strike. Do you get it? Now, the question we are going to ask ourselves is how does that industrial action, right, affect non-payment of rent? Because one is you still have your possessions, you still have your properties, right, in that demised property. So assuming without considering that your properties are within or they are not they are not within the premises, maybe you've actually moved everything away and you are just trying to hand over possession. Yeah, it's something different. But in the situation where you still have your properties therein, you are giving the presumption, and that is it's an irrebuttable presumption that you're still maintaining the property. So whether there's strike action or there's no strike action, that doesn't stop the fact that you are going to pay your rent, because once you're still maintaining possession, right? Once you're still maintaining possession is 9/10 of when you're talking of who owns the property. So more often than not, it's like 9/10 of law. So once you're still in possession of that property, you cannot raise that issue of strike in that situation. I don't know if you understand my point, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
know how students,
Yeah.
students behave now. We have all been students at one point.
No, if you want me to remove that, I can easily remove that.
Yeah, because they can always want to hide on
Yeah.
so they might not be
Yeah, I get.
Implication or the definition or the interpretation of that clause. They might just be thinking that, oh, okay, there's a loophole here, we can hide under this. So whether it's strike or something, we will not pay rent or something like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's fine. Now we're looking into that.
Maybe we should take out this.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Please, if you can hear me, just type in the chat that you can hear me. Just type in the chat that you can hear me if you can hear me. There's a chat. Just type in the chat that you can hear me. So we are having a bit of issue. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Please, I would like to crave our indulgence. Please do not unmute yourself. Do not unmute yourself so that there wouldn't be noise from the background. Do not unmute yourself, please. All right, so we have Mrs. Roberts here with us.
Hello, Busola.
Hello, ma'am.
I can hear you. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, I can see. Well, I don't know. It seems to have gone off again.
No,
but
no,
I can see.
I'm here.
I can see, and I can hear.
Welcome, ma. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, Busola. I can hear you and I can see you.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. We're very delighted to have you here with us. We're about 54 participants in the room now. And I just need just a few minutes to get Mrs. Alakija on board, and then we can start right away.
I've been on board.
Oh, okay, ma.
I've been on the
She said she's on
board. Question, actually.
Okay. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I had just some few issues at my hand here, but I think it's sorted now.
It's fine.
Yes, so we're about 55.
It's okay. That's technology for you. Nothing beats human beings. Yes. Laura, it's good to share the same platform with you again. We were together yesterday.
Good evening, Mike. Good evening. It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much to Mrs. Roberts and Mrs. Alakija for agreeing to do this with us. And so like the topic says, network your way to arbitration briefs. Of course, few weeks ago, or just recently within the SLB community, some of the community members expressed, their dissatisfaction and the frustration, some of their clients are going through with respect to, in view of, the COVID-19, the fact that litigants can no longer go to court. The court is, adjourned sine die, and we don't know when, the courts would, when the courts will be opened again. And so disputes cannot be resolved. Businesses have been forced to come to a halt. And, you know, all of these challenges are the things that we're going through and we're experiencing. And then also, again, we have another set of people who have also been into the arbitration space for a while, but the only thing they have is just their certification. There's really no real-time experience, no practical experience on either being in an arbitration proceeding or even being engaged, you know, with an arbitration brief, either as an arbitration secretary or registrar, or even as an arbitration judge. And I thought about it that post-COVID, we might have a whole lot of issues to deal with, and people also need to know how they can be rightly positioned also to take on arbitration briefs. So I felt that having someone like Mrs. Roberts, who has been there, done that, and who has had all of the experience to take us on how we can actually position for arbitration briefs, particularly for those of us in this generation, what we can do, platforms we can leverage on, or things we actually even need to know, or maybe the strategies she has also, you know, deployed, you know, in getting to where she is now on, and not just operating within the local space, but operating, you know, at the international, the global stage. And then we also have Mrs. Alakija, who also has been, we all know, you know, she's the ICCYAF representative for Africa, Middle East, and Europe. So having also share our experience, you know, all of how she's come about this in just less than 15 years of legal practice, so that some of us who are just starting or who are still new in the game would not feel that, oh, you have to be 30, you have to be 40, or you have to be 50 years at the bar before you can take all of these, or before you can, you know, begin to get arbitration briefs. So we just want them to share with us this evening on how they have been able to do it, and what we need to do, either the strategies we can leverage on, any other thing we need to know. And then after their session, we'll also have a networking expert who is also a business development expert to take us on how we can network, because the challenge we've seen over time with lawyers is that a whole lot of us lawyers, we are only comfortable attending MBA meetings, attending meetings that has to do with, you know, the legal community. We are not so keen about attending other networking events, and really those are the places where we can begin to attract clients. Those are the places where we can get our clients from. And we all here, we are competitors, because we would all be looking for competing for a brief. But imagine you are amidst other people who are not your competitors, who are non-lawyers. Then it means that there is opportunity to take on more briefs. So we'll have our come take us on how we can network strategically, the different kinds of networking strategies we can leverage on. But to kickstart, we are going to have Mrs. Roberts and Mrs. Alakija. And I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here and spending your evening with us. We're always privileged. We're always delighted to do this as a community, as the SLB community. We're always delighted to do this. And without wasting much of our time, I would like to I would like to begin. But then, please, a few housekeeping rules. I would want to crave our indulgence that apart from Mrs. Roberts and Mrs. Alakija, who will be speaking, please, can we ensure that our microphones are on mute? Let's mute ourselves so that there are no noises from the background, and then every one of us can enjoy this moment. 2, if you have any question, please, the chat box is available for you to leverage on. Just post your questions there or your comments, and I tell you that I'm looking at it and I would read it out when the time comes. So thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Network Your Way to Arbitration Briefs. Okay, ma'am. So I'm going to start with Mrs. Roberts. And my question my first question would be, so we have seen you are our mentor in not just in arbitration, in legal practice. We have seen all that you have done, how you've been able to how you are relevant, not just within our local community here, but within the international community. So we would like to ask, Ma, that how did you get into arbitration in the first place? How did you get into arbitration?
I thank you very much, Busola. And it's always a pleasure to share space with you. And I want to say good evening to all the participants. And I hope that at the end of these 2 sessions, you'll come away from this very enriched. Now, how did I get into arbitration? It was purely by accident. I had been in law practice for more than 20 years when I just got this call from, in fact, I was over 40 years, when I got a call from Justice Kayode Esho, late Honorable Justice Kayode Esho, retired Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, saying that he wanted to see me. I was initially surprised, but then I went to see him and I came away thinking that, good grief, what have I let myself in for? But because what did he tell me? Now, anybody who knows Justice Esho would tell you that he's a stickler for correctness. He's somebody who wants things done in a prim and proper way. He's somebody who doesn't like excuses, and he's an extremely hardworking man. And he said to me that he had used so many lawyers as his registrar, otherwise known as arbitral secretaries, for his arbitrations, but that they've disappointed him in one way or the other. And that he had heard about me and how efficient I am, and that he would like me to be his registrar in arbitration meetings. And I said to myself that I don't know a thing about arbitration. But then the opportunity to work with Justice Esho was something I wasn't going to let go. So what did I do? I agreed, ignorance. But then I went to ask, what is arbitration? What is this oral introduction to arbitration practice in Nigeria? And I read that book within 48 hours, the entire book. And it opened my eyes. I went online, read everything I could lay my hands on. I read what the role of a secretary should be, what the role of a registrar should be. I began to look at templates of the kind of things I need to help him with. And that's how I started my work as the journey for me. And then it occurred to me that, excuse me, why do I want to remain a registrar? Why not go for arbitration itself and become an arbitrator? And then I started asking around, what does it take to become an arbitrator? By the time everything was laid out for me, I was told that the courses, I'd have to go to England for certain courses. At that time, I wasn't wealthy. I wasn't even rich. I had 3 children, and I said to myself, go to England for courses, because those courses that you all enjoy in Nigeria now, we had to go to England for them. Oh. But then I begged, I borrowed, I pleaded. I went for my first course in England. I was staying with a friend on whose couch I slept for the entire 1 week I was in England. I had to leave my children with my mom and my husband. I came back, did that, had to go back about 3 or 4 times for different courses and for different examinations. And I was told that, oh, it will take you about 4 or 5 years to get your fellowship. I was so determined. I didn't have 4 or 5 years, and I got my fellowship in 2 years. But 2 years of inability to buy new clothes, because I was either paying back a loan that I'd taken to go for a course or buying books. And believe me, I bought books by the dozen. Any book that I saw, I bought, and I ensured that I read them. If you look at I read Fan and Hunter today, you will think that a bomb threw splashed green ink on it. I read Fan and Hunter so many times. It's still my reference book. I read books by MacArthur. I was reading anything. And believe me, without being immodest, I developed templates which I had shared with so many young people, either when I'm taking a course on how to become an arbitral secretary and so on. So after 2 years when I got my fellowship, I then went to Justice Esho and told him, sir, I'm now an arbitrator. When I was doing my associates, I didn't tell him. My membership, I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him until I got my membership. And he was like, excuse me, how did you do this? But she didn't tell me, but I said, well, sir, I wanted to do it and surprise him with it. But he was very, very happy for me. And it was through him that I got my first arbitration, because he had been told, he had been invited as a sole arbitrator, and his schedule was busy. And he said, Fumi, you should be able to do this arbitration. And I said, yes, sir, I could. And that was how I did it. So that's the story of my journey.
Wow. That's amazing. That's really, really amazing. A great journey. Thank you so much, ma. And so what I've been able to learn from this, for you, your arbitration wasn't a means to the next meal ticket. It wasn't like you're trying to do it for you to be able to get an increase in salary or for you to be able to get the next big job. But it was something you had already started doing, you were involved in already, and you just wanted to take it a step higher. Thank you so much, ma. And so, ma, I would ask again that, so the next question I would ask is, so for people who are coming up now, for young lawyers who are coming up now, a lot of us, try to, and in fact, some while still at the university or still at the law school, because I remember while I was in the law school, we had some people come to market arbitration to us and told us that if we take it at the level of, the law school students would get a discounted fee, the student fee and all of that. But some of us took it at that time and that was just the end. We've not done anything, we've not moved forward, from there. So I was going to ask that, beyond just taking the courses, beyond just being a certified arbitration, what else can we do? Or how can people begin to, how can people get value from being an arbitrator?
Salah, thank you very much. But let me say this. Your generation is luckier than mine. And I'll share Mrs. Tinuade Oyekule's story with you. We call her the mother of arbitration in Nigeria. She's 80-something years old now. Or Mrs. Oyekule still sits on arbitral panels. She still writes her words. I had the pleasure of being her registrar about 2-3 years ago. And she will tell you that when she was in the Ministry of Justice, she did exactly what I did. She would go for conferences on her own ticket. She would go for courses on her own ticket. She was there in everybody's face. At that time, arbitration wasn't popular, but now everybody wants to be an arbitrator. Before I ask any young person, what do you want to do? What are your goals for the future? The first thing, if you may have one or two, but the next thing is, oh, I want to be an arbitrator. And I just smile to myself that it's as if every young person wants to be an arbitrator. But believe me, I know people who are even chartered arbitrators who've not done a single arbitration before. And you'd ask yourself, how are they able to get the briefs and I'm not able to get the briefs? Believe me, you have to pay your dues. If I tell you the things I have volunteered for in the arbitration space, and my first tip to you is that you become an unforgettable fixture in people's minds. You have to attend meetings. I live in Ibadan, but I didn't allow geography to define my arbitration. Where are the meetings held? In Lagos. You'll find me in Lagos. Sometimes I'll take public transport to attend all the meetings of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. When they're planning a seminar, planning anything, I was volunteering. And I asked myself, oh God, I live in Ibadan. This event is taking place in Lagos. We're doing a Zoom meeting with probably about 100 participants. At that time, there was no Zoom meeting. So you'll find me go to Lagos in the morning, come back the same day after having attended a meeting. At that time, the express road was good. I leave Lagos at times about 6 o'clock. Head back to Ibadan. Make sure that I got all my assignments. The following day, I'm doing it and sending them by email. We didn't have laptops at that time. Those of you who didn't know the big desk computers, then you must be the, I don't know whether I'll call you the millennials or the what would your generation be? But at that time, having a computer was a big deal. And Laura, you're laughing. I don't know whether you saw those big things at that time, but that was the type of computers
I saw
that
them.
we had.
My mother had them. I saw them.
So you have to become that fixture that people would remember. And one of the best ways to do it is to volunteer. Look, Laura is going to speak soon. Laura, when I was told that I was going to chair the committee for planning the 2020 International Chamber of Commerce African Regional Conference for 2020, and I was told to come up with a list of volunteers who would help me. Laura's name is on that list. Laura has attended meetings in my office at great inconvenience to herself. How can I forget Laura's name? If I meet her and there's an opportunity, I know that she can pin into. She's giving her time to plan how we're going to receive our international visitors, how we're going to give them their visa. That's not her job. But all the people who are working with me to plan that conference are remarkable. We have our league of advisors, the senior lawyers advising us on what to do. We have people like Laura who would attend meetings, who would have their own small subcommittees working with, and that is the way you network. Now, what is a net? A net are connecting dots. And connecting dots means you meet people and you form relationships. If you don't add value, and if you attend a conference, a meeting, for example, and you go back to your house and nobody has heard that you are there, they are asking the Lord for to do certain things. You are there, you are keeping quiet. I don't have the time. Nobody is going to remember you. So you just have to make sure that people see you, they hear you, and when some people come to me and say, "I want to be your registrar," sometimes I ask them, "What has been your contribution to the arbitration space?" And most of them would say, "Well, I attend meetings," and I say, "No, you have to do a lot more than that." And the people you meet, you have to let them. I see some cards, some business cards, and they say, "Oh, I'm an arbitrator," and I look at their business card, and I see the fact that they are an arbitrator. I'm wondering, how do you want me to know that you're an arbitrator, even if the card that you give me doesn't have that skill written on it? There's no magic bullet of how to get it. But believe me, you have to capitalize on yours. I mean, you have to make sure that you have a wide network and make sure that you're ready to use your social capital to your advantage.
Thank you so much, and I actually align with everything you have said. And I think for about 2 weeks now, that is what I have actually been saying, that we need to do more than just education, attending training. We need to also ensure that beyond those, we're actually ourselves. I don't want to remove you if you are. So like I was saying, so I said a lot of us need to understand beyond just to ensure that the knowledge we are acquiring, we are able to put it to good use, and that we are not just scouting for the next meal ticket, but we are ensuring that we're doing something worthwhile with what we are doing. And most times I say it's better we can even start small and then grow. We shouldn't be fixated on just the money immediately. We should think long term, and we should think in terms of delayed gratification rather than thinking of eating our harvest now when we can always sow it as a seed to expect a greater harvest. Thank you so much, Ma. So on that point, I would go to Mrs. Alakija, and I would want to ask that. So I think maybe you are more closer to with a number of us here. You know, you're more closer to us here. So I would want to ask that, what has the experience, or how did you get into arbitration, and how has the experience been so far?
Okay. I got into arbitration, I would say quite by accident. After law school, I spent the first 5 years of my career in online legal research. So I wasn't in legal practice, as we refer to it. I wasn't working in a law firm. And after I left that space and I came into the law firm, all of my work was in commercial transactions. But then we had a few memberships in the firm that we sort of had to maintain. And because I had a thing for networking, someone just decided to throw me into the ICC meetings. So I used to show up there, I would go and sit down, they would talk about arbitration, everything the commission was doing, and I would just listen, take the minutes of meeting. If I had 1 or 2 contributions, I would make them and go back to work. I wasn't really planning to get into the arbitration space. But by virtue of those interactions, I knew a few faces and I was familiar with a few people. And then somewhere along the line, I found in my work that there was some disputes that required an intervention that was not litigation. And so my first interaction with ADR in general wasn't even arbitration. It was mediation, then a few administrative interventions where you had to get the regulator to step in and assist you, where parties had an issue and it wasn't properly so-called something that you should be taken to the courts. 1, for sensitivity, 2, for time. Most especially for time. And 3, at least in one particular case, the life of the business depended on it. So if we wasted any time, they would have lost their entire business investment, and the company would have had to shut down. So we had to think outside the box and find dispute management solutions that were a little, should I say, different. So after a number of those interventions, I thought to myself, well, dispute resolution is not so bad. Maybe I should start taking this arbitration thing seriously. So the next ICC meeting I went to, I sat down with one of my friends and I said, come, I need you to advise me. I've been hanging around this space for a long time. At least you see me at every meeting, but I now want to get into this space. What should I do? And he said, take a few certifications, attend the conferences, just keep doing what you're doing now that you're in that space. So I was like, okay, no problem. So first thing I did was to take the associate course for the Chartered Institute. Then I attended a few conferences here and there, and I started reading. So I would read articles. If I saw a chapter here or a book there, I would read it and try to understand, a little bit more about arbitration. And then along the line, I got the opportunity to be part of the conference planning committee. I think it was the 2nd ICC Africa conference. That should be 2017. So I went in there, did a bit of my work here and there, got a bit more familiar with the secretariat, with everybody, and then I came back to my friend and said, look, I've done the entry course. I will do the next level, but what else can I do? And he was like, okay, you can ask people around, to let you be a tribunal secretary. I'm like, okay, since you're the one giving me this advice, how about I start with you? I was like, okay, no problem. If I have an opportunity, I will let you know. So that was pretty much how I started. Next opportunity he had, he called me, said, Laura, there's this arbitration. I'm thinking of appointing you as tribunal secretary. How much should I pay you? I said, you don't even have to pay me. Just let me know if the parties say yes, and I'll be willing to do the work. Just tell me when, where, how. So that first case opened my eyes to a lot of things, because before then, all I was hearing was theory, conferences here and there, people asking. The subject was familiar to me, but I didn't quite know, I didn't understand the technical aspects of it. So I started working as a tribunal secretary. So I did that. So that matter started, you know, beginning to end, and I was a bit familiar with it. And then while that was going on, you know, I found every now and then, if I meet someone that looks like, this person might be open to give me some work to do, I will just ask them, I've done this before, can I be your tribunal secretary? So I asked a few people, not everybody, because again, you have to gauge the relationships. For people to work with you, they need to know you, and they need to know they can trust you. So I didn't think it's appropriate as you just meet somebody, you say, excuse me, can I work with you? So I sort of carefully chose the people that I would approach and say, okay, can I do this? And so after that, another one came in, then another one. And then I saw an opportunity to volunteer for the ICCF. What most people don't know is that that's a volunteer position. And like Mrs. Roberts said, volunteerism is very important. Very, very important. Because that's the only space in which people get to see you. They get to know what sort of person you are, if you are dependable and all of that. So I volunteered for the ICC role. Fortunately for me, a few people whom I had interactions with and whom the commission reached out to say, do you know Laura, can she do this work? Everybody said yes. Wow. So that was how I got into that role and embraced it, only to find out that it was a second job. So I was working twice the hours, but not sure. Pretty much that's how I started, and you know, started getting a few engagements here and there, and eventually I found that people were giving me more and more responsibility. In summary, that's how we ended up here today.
Thank you so much. So I picked two things from what you said. Volunteering. Yeah. I picked two things from what you said. Yeah. Volunteering, and I know that I would also want you to confirm it, that the volunteering meant that you even had to spend, you know, your own money at some point. You would have, you know, expended from your own pocket without, you know, getting a response. And you would also not be convenient at you know, at other times. You may have conflicting responsibilities or obligations, but then you would, because you had already made your commitment, and you know, it's a volunteering capacity. It's in a volunteering role. You would definitely always make that priority, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I will try and be very open, because sometimes we color these things and we don't tell people exactly how it is. But there's a lot of personal sacrifice involved in it. And sometimes, you know, you have to move things around, look at what your priorities are. I mean, between my first certification and the number of trainings I've done now, I've paid a lot of it out of my pocket.
Ma, please,
there have been instances where, you know, I've had to say...
Sorry to cut you. So you said you paid a lot out of your pocket. So let's just try and put a figure to it. You may not need to tell us the exact, but let's just put a figure to it. You know, have you spent over $1 million? Have you spent more than $1 million? Have you spent below $1 million? So that people can, everyone on this floor can understand that, you know, becoming a better person or a better professional, there's actually a cost to it. And, you know, this cost, and, you know, they don't come cheap.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if I can give you a ballpark figure, because this is ongoing, but I'll give you a few examples. So, for instance, when I decided to start going for conferences, there was one particular conference I really wanted to go for, and the conference was in Kenya. And it was towards the end of the year. So I knew that I could not go and ask anybody in my office that come and pay for this conference. And, you know, if you look at the price of registering for the conference, travel and accommodation, it would probably wipe out your entire, maybe half of your trip. So that's what I did was, first I registered for the conference, then raise money for the tickets. Then when I got stuck, I went to one of my friends and I said, look, this is how much I've paid in this event. Can I get part funding? So that's one scenario. When I was doing my fellowship for the Chartered Institute, that one I paid 100% from my pocket. So I would say that Kenya trip cost me altogether about 600,000.
Wow.
And from my pocket, I paid about 60% of the sum. Then when I was doing my fellowship, yes, and I did my fellowship in Abuja. So the first leg of the exam is 350,000. I paid that from my pocket. Then I traveled to Abuja to go and write the exam. Second half of the exam was also 350,000. I paid that one from my pocket as well. I registered to do a mediation course at the LMDC in Lagos. That's 250,000. I paid that from my pocket as well. What are some of the choices I've had to make? Some of the things I've had to forgo. I'll give you an example. When I was doing my fellowship exam, my car had a problem. And I sent it to the auto shop and they sent me a bill. And when they sent me a bill and I looked at how much I had to spend and I looked at my fellowship exam, I calculated how much it would cost me to take Uber for a month. I left the car in the auto shop, paid for my fellowship, went and did the exam, came back, then started raising money to fix my car. That whole period, I decided that it was me and public transport because I had an exam to write. And there are so many little things like that. I mean, in the earlier years, I remember at some point when I had courses to do, I would call my mother and say, give me a loan. This is my repayment plan. And she'll say, for what? I'll say, I have a course. I want to write an exam. And we'll agree the repayment plan. She'll send me the money. I'll do the exam and I'll pay her back. Those were some of the choices I had to make because while I was doing all these things, I still had children that were in school and had all their basic needs or requirements that my family had to meet. So, you know, I had to look at it and balance my finances such that you don't invest all of that in yourself and forget your primary responsibilities. So in a nutshell, that's what the investment has looked like.
Wow, thank you so much. And I think that your story ties to Mrs. Roberts' story because it wasn't a case of the two of you setting out to for arbitration, but it was a case of, you know, getting into it. Like Mrs. Roberts said that it was by accident. So it was a case of, you know, getting into it, not that you set out to do it. So yeah, so that's really, really amazing. Ma, over to you, Mrs. Roberts. Ma, please, I would like to ask that, so in this present, for us, some people have asked a few questions. Someone said they would like you to talk about mediation, that they would like to hear your perspective about mediation. They would like you to talk about mediation.
Well, I don't know what you mean by talk about mediation. I actually started mediation before I went into arbitration. And just like everything, you have to look for opportunities in everything you're involved in. And I say to people that if you leave 24 hours, you leave the next 48 hours, and at the end of the week, you don't ask yourself, this week, what are the opportunities that have come my way? What are the plans that I've made for myself? And what are the opportunities that have helped me to key into that plan? Let me tell you the first time I heard about mediation, because I always say that opportunity, when they say opportunity comes knocking, some people take it literal. They think it will be in your house and somebody will come and say, this is an opportunity for you. Excuse me, it hardly happens like that. I was invited by the United USAID to go for a Women in Politics program in the US. There were many nominations. I was fortunate to be one of those who got invited. And we got to the US and we were going to different states. And we got to Washington and we went to one of the courts and we were talking about multi-door courthouse. And I was like, this is a new concept. What does it mean? And they explained it. They said, look, it's not as if there's a house with many doors, but that a multi-door courthouse merely means that you go to a courthouse and you have different options of resolving disputes. And I was fascinated by it because at that time, the only dispute resolution mechanism I was exposed to was litigation. And I was a core litigator at that time. And they said, oh, a gentleman had come for this program for the male version. His name is Kende Aino, and he has set up this group called Negotiation and Conflict Management Group in Nigeria. I promptly got to Nigeria and I went to look for Kehinde. And that was, I was living in Ibadan. Like I said, NCMG was created in Lagos, but I didn't let that stop me. I was in Lagos every week, attending every meeting, asking Kehinde, how do we do this? What do we do? He and I worked with him to develop all the flyers, all the documents for NCMG. And then he said, oh, Fumi, you know what, you have to get CEDA to come and train in Nigeria. That's the Center for Effective Dispute Resolution. Even at the time I was working with Kehinde, I had not been trained as a mediator. But when I heard the cost of being trained by CEDA, it was £4,500. £4,500 that I did not have. But then they decided to bring a faculty to Nigeria, which then cut out the cost of transportation and accommodation in England. So it's just a cost fee that I had to look for money for. So I was one of the first set of people trained by CEDA in Lagos at the High Court premises in Obalende. And after the course, I must have done very well because they then said they wanted to build the Nigerian faculty. CEDA now invited me to join their faculty. So even now I train with CEDA in different parts of Africa. I'm on their global panel of mediators. Mediation was my first love before I went into arbitration. But what it showed me was that, oh, really? You mean I can help people resolve disputes without going to court? And I was just fascinated by it. And then I started writing articles about mediation. And when the person who asked the question said, I should talk about mediation, mediation is a non-adversarial means of resolving disputes. And what I love about mediation is the fact that it enables parties craft their own solution to the disputes. And at the end of the day, they're able to stick with it and they come up with a solution that works for them. You as the mediator is just facilitating conversation between them, bringing them to a compromise solution to come up with a solution that works for them, not an imposed solution. Unlike arbitration and litigation, which are adversarial dispute resolution mechanism, where you have a judge or an arbitrator sit with the parties and determine this person is right and this person is wrong. That is not mediation. And people have asked me, how do you wear the garb of a mediator? The next minute you wear the garb of an arbitrator. It's not difficult for me because in my mind, they are two separate systems. I can do a mediation today and tomorrow I'm doing arbitration. But one thing I would not do, in the same dispute, you will not find me turn myself into a mediator in the course of an arbitration with the same parties within the same dispute. So if I tell parties in an arbitration, can you please try and resolve this dispute even while the arbitration is going on? What I tell them to do is to either go to the multi-judge courthouse in Lagos and get them to appoint a third-party neutral to work on the mediation. If they settle, they then bring the terms of settlement to me, and then I enter it as my consent judgment. So I don't know whether that has helped the person, but if you go online, there are a plethora of articles on what mediation means. But the key thing is, how do you get into the mediation space? All those courses, CEDA has done about so many courses in Nigeria, and the last, I think apart from the first two, the first one was when I took my own training. The second one was when I was doing the training of trainers course, but all the others that they've done in Nigeria have been part of their faculty. And to be a part of the faculty, I had to go to England to do some shadowing of the training of the trainers in England as well. Because my training with them is not localized to Nigeria alone. I've trained with them in Kenya as well. So there are so many opportunities there, but you just have to open your eyes to see those opportunities. But then you have to have a plan for yourself. Because if you don't have a plan, if you are not clear about where you want to go, when those opportunities arise, you don't see them. But when you have a clear goal, I want to be an arbitrator, believe me, and you eat it, you dream it, when the opportunity is there, you'll see it. but then you have to yourself work towards it and have paid your dues in that space.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ma. So somebody is, so we have partner Touchstone and Grace, Tolu Lokwe Aderemi here, and he's asking this question directly to you, Ma, Mrs. Roberts. He says, how have you been able to manage the rigor of preparing the memorials or studying the memorials and then manage your foreign posture and also a most successful family?
Tolu, don't mind Tolu. He likes to pull my legs. Believe me, when people ask me, because invariably what Tolu is saying is that how do you manage work, where is that work-life balance? And Tolu, let me say this, I'm still looking for that balance. What they call work-life balance. I've not found it yet. I'm 62 years old. I'm grandmother to 4, and I still have not found that balance. But let me say this, talking seriously. It is a question of making life cycle choices. I've said it so many times, and I cannot say it enough. The choices I have to make as a mother is different from the choices a single lady has to make. And it is a question of prioritizing what is important for you. How do you define success? For me, at a certain stage in my life, my definition of success was raising 4 sons. And that was why I kept my practice very small, so that I could focus on raising my 4 sons. And if you ask me today, and I keep saying it, for me, what would define, what is the definition of my success? I'll say it's raising 4 sons successfully, because they make me proud. I'm so proud of them, and that is what frees me to do other things. I've raised them, trained them, nurtured them to a stage where I'm now comfortable to say, now is my time. In fact, my sons will tell you that, oh, now it's FR's time. Now, if you tell me, come and look after my grandchild, and I have an arbitration, I'll tell the parents, I've raised my own children. Go and raise your children, much as I love my grandchildren. Believe me, and it's a question of being very clear about what you want. But then the choices you have to make when you're in your 30s are totally different from the choices you have to make when you're in your 40s, different from when you're in your 50s. At the time I was keeping my practice small, it was a one-man practice. I started from one room, divided into 2. My secretary in one half, I on the other half. If you gave me a brief in Abuja and I had to see my son's teacher in ISI, I'm not going to go to Abuja. If that brief cannot wait for me to see my son's teacher when I had to see my son's teacher, there's so many lawyers that you can take it to them. But right now, my time is mine, my space is mine. I can do what I like, but I've paid my dues. And I say to young mothers, if you don't spend the time your children need you when they are young, you are going to spend the rest of your life raising those children. So my priorities are now different from what they are when I was in my 30s, when I was in my 40s. And believe me, if I am too busy, I will not take on an arbitration that I know that I would not have time for. It's not everything you accept. If you cannot deliver value efficiently, don't take it. If you cannot do certain things, if you know that you can shelve them, but you don't kill yourself trying to meet deadlines. But the key thing is, when whatever you are going to do it well, do it efficiently, and add value to everybody around you. Tolu, I hope that works for you, that question. We'll take it offline after this.
Thank you, Ma. And so somebody is asking again, so quite a lot of questions at the chat box. Somebody is asking that how can a person with mediation certificates enter the arbitration space with such certification? I don't think this is,
no, the answer is no. The certifications are different. But let me say this. You don't have to go for those courses before you are appointed as an arbitrator. If you are not trained at all, you can make anybody your arbitrator. And that is why there's a saying in that space to the effect that you take your arbitrator as you find him. If you get somebody who's untrained, who's not been exposed to arbitration before, and he messes up the process for you. Too bad, that's your choice. But we tell people to go for this training so that when you are delivering on the process, you are doing it well. And that is what gives you the repeat briefs. If you mess up, it's a very small community. If you mess up one time, mess up the second time, you're going to gain a reputation for yourself that would prevent people from appointing you. So if you know that and believe me, you are going to be tried and tested by the parties and their counsel. And if you don't have the strength of character, and if you don't have the confidence to stand your ground as an arbitrator, they'll take advantage because they'll see that you're a novice. They'll see that you don't have that confidence, and they'll try to take advantage or even hijack the process from you. But remember, you are the master of the process. Despite the fact that we say party autonomy, parties know, you have to be firm when you have to be firm. You have to stick to your ground when you have to stick to your ground. But you definitely need different certifications if you want to be certified.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. I think we'll move over to Mrs. Alakija, and somebody is asking, how can one with an introductory certificate in arbitration upgrade to higher levels when one has to pay high amounts of dues to upgrade and without getting arbitration briefs? Also, the arbitration institute seems to be run like a cartel without publicizing opportunities for tribunal secretary, research assistants, young members so that they can break into the space.
Right. So I will answer this in two ways. First part, about certifications is you have to find a way to invest in yourself. You see, the challenge is if you find the opportunities and you're not prepared, you might find that you would struggle. So, and I'll tell you my personal experience. You know, I got my first arbitration brief not too long ago, and I was preparing to write my fellowship exams. And I remember that someone had said to me, you know what, you have a lot you are doing, just postpone this exam. But I just had a gut feeling that, look, don't postpone it, just do this certification. And I went to do it. I realized that everything they taught me in that course was so valuable. This is apart from the fact that my mentors were now getting phone calls off the hook. Please, I'm about to do this. Can you tell me whether this step I'm taking is right or wrong? Quite apart from that, the fact that I had taken the certification, that particular course, prepared me in ways that I had no idea it was preparing me until that opportunity came, and I found out that, you know what, everything, all the drilling, all the books, all the articles they make you do, they're actually quite relevant for your life transactions. So I don't know how to encourage you to invest this money, but you need to, because it is only a prepared person that can take an advantage of an opportunity and turn it into subsequent opportunities. Mrs. Roberts just finished saying that if you mess up your first opportunity, you won't get another one. It is so true. So that's the essence of investing that money. Now, the second thing they said about the information not being in the public domain, it's quite true. But you see, I'm glad we're talking about arbitration and networking. Networking is a contact sport. It means that for people to be in your network, they have to be people that you have engaged with beyond hi and hello. And it is people in your network that will more often than not introduce you to these opportunities or will be willing to take a chance on you. So to that extent, you have to find a way to be present at conferences, workshops, seminars, you know, any opportunity. And there are a lot of, I mean, this season, you know, trying to get into arbitration in this period is not as hard as it used to be because there's so many things happening here in Nigeria that we have access to. And there are so many young people's events that are free that you can show up and participate in. What people fail to realize is at those events, you will meet other young people that are already doing what you want to do. I can tell you for free that My first 3 appointments as tribunal secretary came from a young arbitrator under the age of 40. So before any senior could see me and say, Laura, come and do this work with me, it was my bit of work to do for me. And that gave me the exposure that I was looking for. So you may not see a public announcement. And the way Nigeria is, we do a lot more ad hoc arbitrations than institutional arbitrations. So even if institutions are saying, you know what, young people come, we have opportunities for you, those opportunities may not go around. Well, you see the ad hoc one, there's no public place where you're publishing all the ad hoc arbitrations. By ad hoc, I mean the ones that are not administered by arbitral institutions. So the sorts where you find the arbitration clause that just says, oh, parties will appoint their arbitrators. Those are usually done under the Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Those usually have no institution. So it's only the arbitrators that are aware that that arbitration is happening. And it's those people that can say to you, okay, you know what, I'll inquire from the parties and see if I can appoint you. So in those kinds of instances, it's the one-on-one contacts that will open those opportunities for you, to you.
Thank you so much. So somebody is asking that, how do I start my certification in arbitration? How do I start my certification in arbitration? And then another person is also asking.
Okay. Okay.
You can go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So it depends on which of the certifications you want to do. For me, every time I felt the need to learn something new or to get a new qualification, I go and research what is out there, what's available, what's accessible, what can I do, what am I able to juggle with my current responsibilities without putting any in jeopardy, what are the financial implications, how do I pay for this, my schedule. I would say CIAB is a good place to go to. CIAB has the associate course, which introduces you to arbitration generally. It has the membership course, which teaches you how to it teaches you the work of counsel. You can decide to follow that progression. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, the internet dropped for a moment. So I had mentioned the CIAB. I know that the LCA also recently launched an arbitration school. And from the notices I've seen, they also have the entry level, the intermediate level, and they have, I don't remember the specific names of the courses, but it's graduated in 3 levels as well. So you can start with those beginners courses while you network and find your way around the community, and just, find ways to gradually step up your qualification until at least you've done those ones. Then you can do other things on the side to keep improving yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question is for Mrs. Roberts, ma'am. So somebody is asking that, is it possible to sit in during mediation sessions with a sole aim of learning without necessarily being a part of the decision making?
Let me say this, both arbitration and mediation are confidential, private processes, and you cannot sit in without the consent of the parties. But what I advise young people to do is, if you're working in a law firm and you have an arbitration practice, tell them that you want to go with them when they're going for any arbitration. So you're part of the team of counsel in that arbitration or in that mediation. But if you don't have that opportunity, ask counsel There's so many law firms now that do arbitration and mediation. Ask them. If you have a relationship with any of them, go up to them and say, well, in my law firm or in my practice, I don't have the opportunity to be exposed, but when you have it, can I go as part of your legal team? I'm not saying as a registrar or arbitral secretary or just as an observer or no. When I do arbitrations, I always try to invite my pupil arbitrators. There's some that I mentor, and some of them have the time. They'll come to Lagos or Port Harcourt or Abuja, wherever I am involved in the arbitration. But I always ask, if it's a 3-man panel, I ask my fellow arbitrators whether we should, I should invite them. So with their permission on that day, we then ask the parties. It is only when the parties say they are comfortable with them coming in that we then invite them. And the record of the proceedings of that day would record the number of observers, pupil arbitrators who had come in. For mediation as well, you have to ask the parties if you want to sit there at the invitation of the mediator. Well, like I said, the easiest way to go about observing is as a member of the team of counsel working of the parties in the arbitration.
Okay, thank you, Ma. So I think we'll just speed things up because we have just about 17 more minutes to go before our next facilitator comes in. So somebody's asking, Olu Adekoya says, I feel the cost of arbitration certifications discourage a lot of young lawyers. Can we get an insight into whether there are enough lawyers in the arbitration space in Nigeria? Can we get an insight into whether there are enough lawyers in the arbitration space in Nigeria? The question is for Mrs. Robert.
Yes, well, unless you go to the secretariat and ask, but believe me, my experience is that every young lawyer wants to be an arbitrator. Meanwhile, there is even a huge shift now from arbitration to mediation because people are now more aware of the opportunities and benefits of mediation, and people see arbitration as being very expensive. You have to pay the parties, you have to pay the cost of so many things, whereas mediation is cheaper. So there's a shift. Whether there are so many people that I can't put a figure to it, but believe me, when I started, we weren't as many as this. But the one thing I want to tell young people is don't be in a hurry. And that is why for the fellowship of the Chartered Institute, if you are not 35 years old, you would not be admitted into the fellowship. And it is for a reason. You need a bit of, apart from confidence, you need maturity and you need a little bit of sagacity. If you are a young arbitrator and you don't know what you're doing, and an SCN comes in, like an example, Abayomi shared with us yesterday, with a retinue of lawyers just to, pose and intimidate you. If you don't have that confidence, if you don't have that experience, if you don't have that maturity, you don't deal with that kind of person. So learn the ropes, don't be in a hurry.
Okay, so another person is asking.
Pay your dues, learn as much as. Go on, Busola.
No, I finished now.
Well, that's basically it. That the figures, I can't put a figure to it, but when I started, we were not more than a handful. Right now, if you go to the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, they have a long list of associates, members, and fellows. So it's not something I can put a precise figure to.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. Somebody is asking again that, and the question is to Mrs. Alakija, said, should I focus on qualifications and titles, or should I seek to demonstrate capacity in a reference? Then the second question is, how can we get into this volunteer capacity? How can we begin to volunteer for arbitration matters like you talked about?
Okay, so for the first question, if I had to put it on a scale to say whether you should focus on certification or capacity in a reference, I would probably say capacity in a reference. But I say that very carefully because the certifications are not just paper. If you are doing the certifications just so that you can have paper, then maybe you have the wrong idea. And I gave you an example of how one of those certifications helped me not to bungle my first case. So they are actually useful. If, however, you haven't had the certification and you have an opportunity you are working on, you have to do everything within your power to learn as much as you can. And, you know, ask questions, seek guidance. Don't do that thing that we lawyers have a tendency to do. Just sit at your desk and read up on the law and think that, you know, you've covered your bases. Sometimes there are small conversations you have here and there that shed so much light on what you need to do. So, you know, certifications are useful, yes, but do them for the right reason. Do them to gain the knowledge, not just so that you can have it or have a few letters behind your name that suggest that you have this qualification.
Absolutely.
And then for volunteer opportunities, honestly, I don't know if I can tell you a particular place you can go to. The thing is, you have to be present. And like Mrs. Roberts said, I keep borrowing from Mrs. Roberts. Every time I listen to her, I learn so many things. Some of you don't know, I have my notebook here. I hope you brought yours. But what I was going to say is, for those opportunities, oftentimes you have to be in the room to know that there's an opportunity. And like Mrs. Roberts said, you have to be looking for that opportunity in order to be able to find it. Because sometimes we enter a place, there's an opportunity, but we're so occupied with other things. We don't notice that there's a chance here for me to do something. So you have to look for windows of opportunity and seize them when you, so you need to know what you're looking for so that when you see it, you can recognize it. And then once you do and they say, okay, who wants to do this? Be very quick to raise up your hand and say me.
Okay, so somebody said that, so I think Moses Otusemade says that my problem is not actually about spending more money to invest in myself.
Hello, Busola. I don't know if she's still on.
I'm still here. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So Moses Otusemade says that my problem is not actually about spending more money to invest in myself, but rather to be able to balance it in such a way that my law practice does not suffer, because that is where my livelihood comes from for now. How do I balance this?
Okay, so balancing can be a little tough because you will find that your usual responsibilities will not vanish simply because you decided to go into arbitration. So sometimes you will find that you're working far longer hours. You may have to work weekends. You may have to move your schedule around. If you work in a team, you may have to give up some responsibilities to create room for the opportunities that you're finding in arbitration. But those are adjustments you need to, you know, try and make decisive decisions on how to make those adjustments. In my firm, for instance, I still have responsibility for commercial transactions. But as soon as I got my first arbitration instruction, I started preparing my team that, guys, I'm transitioning into arbitration, and a time will come that I will not
Okay, I think we lost her. While we wait for her to come, I would want Mrs. Robert to give us also some insight into it. How can I balance? Moses is asking how he can balance getting his certifications and at the same time also working on his law firm to ensure that he makes more money.
I'm sorry, I thought I'd unmuted my microphone. It's a question of priority. And I say this, that your generation is more fortunate than mine. All the courses that we had to go abroad to do, we have them in Nigeria now. You don't have to travel. The ICC conference that should have taken place in June this year, we are bringing which are postponed to June next year. We are bringing the entire ICC Institute from Paris to come and do a pre-conference course, to come and give the delegates a pre-conference course. Laura, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
So the pre-conference course is, I can't remember how much, but when you add the fact that you are not going to pay for tickets, you are not going to pay for accommodation in Paris, then we got Wole Olanipekun and Co. to sponsor the venue and the meals on the day of the conference for 2.5 million. That is why we've been able to crash the cost of that course. And you are telling me that you don't have the resources to go for that course. So you answer that question yourself. If you're doing a course for 80,000, that should have cost you 600 and something thousand, what would be your choice? Then let me give another example. When we started this conversation with the fact that, we want to know how to network in order to get briefs. ICC conference for June, and Laura will confirm this. What we have done on day one, we are going to have what we call a networking breakfast. It is free for everybody who registers for the conference. We got Banwa and Igodalo to sponsor that breakfast for 1.5 million. So all the delegates who register for that conference are going to come in. And we said, instead of giving them breakfast alone, let us teach them something, because most of the people going to register are young people. Let us teach them how to network. So we are already thinking of this. So we're going to bring in 3 facilitators to come and teach you how to network. More importantly, how to develop your elevator pitch. I won't say more than that, but we're bringing in 3 people who've done this, which are they're all young people. We are bringing them in to come and do what we've talked about for 5 minutes today. You're going to have about an hour and a half. These are opportunities. Now, what are you getting for that conference? You are getting a course at next to nothing. You are getting breakfast where you will be told how to develop your elevator pitch and how to speed network. In that same conference, we are bringing facilitators from all over Africa, all over Europe for that conference. At the end of the day, you are spending less than 200,000. Now, the choice is yours. The conference has been advertised from January. Are you going to save towards it? We've now postponed it for 1 year, but we've left registration open. So sometimes the choice is your, I gave you an example. There was a time I couldn't afford to buy ready-made clothes. I couldn't afford a second pair of shoes. I couldn't afford a handbag, a new one. But I would save money. I would borrow money, go to England, sleep on my friend's couch in her sitting room because my friend had a 1-bedroom flat. But I just needed to make that sacrifice, leave my children with my husband and my mom and go for that course. It's about choices. And Mrs. Roberts, neither Mrs. Roberts nor Laura is going to make those choices for you. But it is not all the courses you have to attend. You also need to be strategic. It is not all the conferences you need to attend. You have to ask yourself, what value will this add for me? What do I gain from this? What are the added advantages of going for this course? You make that analysis yourself, then you look at your budgets. And when you are doing your annual budget, do you even budget for all these things? You budget for a pair of shoes, but you not budget for conferences. Believe me, there are no hard and fast rules about these things, but it is all dependent on how much money you make, what are your priorities, in fact, what are the things that you think are important to you. There was a young lady I was mentoring a couple of weeks ago, and I ask her, do you need another pair of shoes for the next 1 year? Do you need another new frock for the next 1 year? Do you need another handbag? Believe me, there was a time it was a friend of mine, Mrs. Oshimagun, who told me that, Fumi, do you know that for 1 year, I did not buy any new clothes, I didn't buy any new shoes or bag, and I saved a lot of money. I decided to try it. I extended mine for 18 months. You would be amazed at how much you can save. Ask yourself, how many black clothes do you need? How many black and whites do you need? How many shoes do you need? Believe me, if you can just rationalize, believe me, I don't take Ashwebi. I used to, the year I refused, I said, this was 10 years ago, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I then wrote down how much I have saved in saying no to people. I don't want you, Ashwebi. When my sons got married, I didn't take Ashwebi for this. I just called, wear any yellow. If you don't even want to wear the yellow, don't wear it. Wear anything, just come and have fun. Believe me, I saved money in their millions. The only concession I make to Ashwebi now is if it is close family, and if it is Ankara, believe me, I'll take that 2,500 Ankara, because I promptly turned the Ankara into the cloth that I wear in the house with 2 pockets, one for my keys, one for my phone that I can wear around the house. So you have to make those choices yourself. But believe me, if you want something bad enough, you will make the right choice. I hope that has helped the person who asked the question.
Yes, ma, I hope so. Thank you so much, ma. I think 2 things resonate and keeps resonating from what both yourself and Mrs. Alakija has said so far, which is we should be willing to make sacrifices. We should be willing to invest in ourselves. And I think that for me, or for members of the SLB communities who are here, that's one thing that we keep talking about, that I keep talking about, that the sacrifices we make today would count for us in the future, in 5 years, in 10 years time. We don't need to eat our seeds now, but we should keep investing in ourselves. And then by the time we are able to, when the harvest comes bountifully. So I'm hoping that if we do not take anything away from here tonight, every participant will take away the fact that there is the need for us to keep investing in ourselves. We shouldn't eat our seeds now. We should delay gratification, and we should be willing and ready to also make sacrifices. I think we will just take one more question, because our time is fast spent. So somebody's asked, I think Chiamaka just asked that, does it matter any of the arbitration body that you obtain your certification from, that there is the FICAB, that doesn't matter any of the certification or any of the arbitration body we take the certification course from? Then also, Rita is asking that, do you think my level in arbitration might hinder my being appointed as an arbitrator or a registrar? Say, for instance, I have been an associate member of the CIAB for 5 years, and I've had 2 appointments so far, but they never went to hearing. So she's asking that, would a level in arbitration hinder our appointment or as an arbitrator or as a registrar? And then somebody is also asking if it matters. Does it matter any of the body you take the certification with?
Okay,
Sorry, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Laura, you want to take those questions? Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Roberts. I was just going to say that ordinarily, I wouldn't say one institution is better than the other, but I would recommend that if you wanted to take an arbitration course, you should do it with a credible institution so that you get good value for your time and your money. After you've made all those sacrifices, you don't want to find out that you've wasted your time and your resources and that you didn't get the quality of training that you should have gotten from the course. So my recommendation is, in picking out your courses, pick a credible institution. I would make the same argument for when people talk about picking institutions for their arbitrations, pick an institution that will last, not the one that will disappear after you've done the course. That's not to say we will take away everything that you've learned, but those would be my initial choices. And then for the second person that asked whether what arbitration is, it is the parties or the institutions that will pick. Institutions will generally look for someone who is qualified and who has experience and can handle the arbitration. But when parties are picking their arbitrators, they may not go as far as checking whether you just have an associate membership or more. So it depends on who wants to appoint you. Sometimes the person appointing you may not even pay attention to whether or not you have the qualification. They may not even know what the qualifications are to be able to determine whether you have it or not to appoint you. But for your own professional reputation, you should do your best to continually develop yourself. It doesn't mean that if you don't do the additional certifications, you will not go far. If you don't have it in a certification, at least have it in experience and in all the other little courses that you do to continually improve yourself. The important part is to keep moving and not stop learning. Those are my views on that. I don't know if Mrs. Robert.
Believe me, Laura, I agree with you. Everything you've said, but let me sound a note of caution. I am a member of the faculty of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. And I see that some people come for membership exam with the expectation that they are going to be taught. There are several levels of membership at the Institute. You have the associate, which is the entry level. You have the membership. You have the fellowship. The only time you are going to have people, tutors come in and teach you is at the entry level. And I tell young people, if you don't have experience, if you have not observed a live arbitration, or if you have not read a book like Redfern and Hunter, which gives you, or a Bernstein on arbitration, which gives you a Mercato, which explains practicality, the practical knowledge of handling a live arbitration to you, those go for membership. If you don't have that experience, even if you are a senior advocate of Nigeria, there was a senior advocate of Nigeria, a very good friend of mine, who called me and said, I have this arbitration that they are thinking of appointing me. I don't have the experience. I said, look, there's a Chartered Institute of Arbitration entry-level course. Go for that course. He humbled himself and he went for the associate course. And believe me, it's not a matter of pride. I went for my associate. I was over 40 years old when I went for it. But for me, the important thing is getting it right and delivering appropriate value to the people who entrust their dispute resolution to me. I could easily have said, oh, I've been called to the bar 20-something years, I've been a litigator, I don't need to go for that entry-level course. But believe me, if you don't have appropriate exposure, don't go for the membership course directly. Do, like I said, do it and do it well. Learn the ropes, learn the skills. By the time you are going for your fellowship, it's more or less like a Viva. It is not a teaching course. We call it course, but it is not a teaching course. Because by the time you get there, you're expected to know certain things about the process. Does it matter whether you go for which institute? Believe me, I have said it before, you don't need a certification before you are appointed. But if you are going to go for any certification, you have to determine, do I want to be an international arbitrator? Or do I want to localize my practice? If you want to localize your practice, there is no problem. There are organized, Nigeria-based, one of the best is NICAB. I'm a member of NICAB as well. You can do their courses. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't give you the opportunity to get appointed for international arbitrations. But when you are a member of ICC, the only appointment you get from ICC is for international arbitration. More often than not, that's what they get the commission to make appointments for. Sometimes also for domestic. So you have to be strategic and be very clear about what you want. But believe me, you need a lot of exposure to all the different options. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and then set a map, a road map for yourself. I keep saying it enough. If you see me at any time with my handbag, I have small notebooks, 2 small notebooks. One is green, one is black. My black one is for arbitration, ADM, my dispute resolution practice. The green one is for all the other things, all the other caps that I wear as a member of NGO, one NGO or the other, and for somebody is sharing an experience at a party or at a function. Believe me, Fumi is putting it in her head. The moment she gets into her car, she's noting it down. And on a quiet day, I bring out those notes and I go through them. Sometimes if you look at my notes on my phone, my Samsung notes, it's full of things I've learned from everybody. Even Laura, who is talking today, I've learned 1 or 2 things from her today that I'm going to put there. So my advice to you is keep your options open, but be very, very strategic.
Thank you so much, Ma. And I think that this is about all we can take. But Ma, I don't know, maybe, people have asked that you mentioned some books, and that can you just mention the books again so that perhaps they will be able to.
You know what, I'm going to go a step further. Busola, you know all the people on this platform. I think we have about 60-something people. I'll send you a list of all the books and just post it to everybody.
All right, ma'am. All right, ma'am.
Some of the books are expensive, but believe me, it is worth your while. In fact, Mr. Tolu Aderemi is offering you Red and Hunter. Believe me, that is one of the best books. Yesterday, I was writing an award. I had Red Fan and Hunter right in front of me. I had Mercato right in front of me. Believe me, there is another book on costs. If you read that book on costs, there's another one solely on award writing. Those are books that teach you the practical skills. When I'm writing my awards today, I still have those books in front of me because every situation differs one from the other. So I'll send you that list, Busola, and just blast it to everybody to go and buy.
All right,
please buy that book before you buy that pair of shoes.
Thank you.
Register for the ICC Africa Regional Conference so that you can do the pre-conference course before you buy that handbag, before you buy that suit.
Okay, Ma, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. We really appreciate this opportunity of sharing with us, and we know that we can always come for more and more and more. Thank you so much. We pray that God increase your wisdom and continues to give you more strength and grace so that you keep nurturing us and you also live to see
Thank you. It's always my pleasure to interact with young people. And I keep saying this. I learn more from interacting with you than from my peers, from my age mates. Believe me, I want to stay in the same space with you. And there's an initiative we're coming up with very soon. I hope I've shared it with Busola. I'll share it. It's going to roll out very soon. I hope you all join in on it because we're going to need many volunteers. And all of you on this platform are potential volunteers.
I think that deserves a round of applause.
Thank you, Mrs. Robert.
And I want to say a very big thank you also to Mrs. Alakija. Thank you for sharing your time. So guys, it was just about, I think it was just on Tuesday I reached out to her requesting for her presence on this on this webinar, and she graciously accepted to be here. So thank you so much. We do not take this for granted. Thank you for sharing with us. And I'm sure that we can always come to ask for more when we need to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I just want to add for the books that you want to buy, if you are looking for the cheaper version, you might want to try the Kindle editions. It's not as handy as the physical books, but if you are trying to save money, that's what I do. I buy the soft copy and it's mine. I can keep it for as long as I like and I read it. So that will help you to also balance the cost of what you have to spend on your development.
Fantastic tip. I'm going to make sure that I buy all the Kindle editions of those books, because I'm looking at 2 rows of arbitration books now. I'm going digital. Thank you, Laura. I got that from you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So right about now, we have our second facilitator here, and she's been in the room for over 10 minutes. We've eaten into our time. She was supposed to come up in by 7:30, but I mean, we have Mrs. Roberts, and we can't, just shut her out like that. So now it's about to get,
Mrs. Roberts is going to stay till the end because she wants to learn.
Okay, ma.
Exactly.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. So right about now is we're switching now, and it's going to get very, very interesting and exciting. The next person we have here is Karika. Karika, the Karika Republic. Karika is a vibe on our own. Her energy is superb. She is quite phenomenal. And when it comes to networking, when it comes to adding value, when it comes to giving value, Karika is your plug. She's your plug. She's your go-to person. I mean, she's local, she's global, she's a businesswoman, she's a professional, she's just a multifaceted being. And I just came to know her last year, and within just a short period of knowing her and just interacting with her from afar, I have gotten so much value. I have learned a whole lot of things, which I'm also putting into good use. On Monday, we had over 2 hours of networking session with her, and that room was filled with so much energy, and I could even feel it from the comfort of my home. So she's here right now, and she's going to be taking us on everything about networking, because for everything Mrs. Roberts and Mrs. Alakija has said so far, there is also an angle to it, and that angle is networking. And we've observed also that for us as lawyers, we usually do not know how to network. And so we are always in our space. We are always in either attending MBA meeting, MBA conference, MBA this, but we don't go outside of our space to network with other people. And it's those other professionals that we can get our briefs from. We are over 80 of us here, and I can't give you any brief. You also may not be able to give you any brief. But networking with other people, other businessmen, people in other industries, we can be able to get 1 or 2 briefs. So Karika is going to take us on everything about networking. Prepare your questions, and she's going to answer us. So over to you, Karika. Thank you so much for accepting to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Busola. I super appreciate. See, one of the things that that Busola has that is such a gift is Busola is so supportive. Like Busola is so supportive. I remember when I was supposed to attend the networking event you had in January, and can you remember? Was it January? End of January, right? And I had a mix up with my flight and all of that. Like as soon as I landed, I was like, see, I'm coming to SLB but we had other plans change, but Busola is so supportive, and support is gold in networking, right? So thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karika. I'm a business development and networking strategist. And my original profession is engineering. So I'm an engineer. I've worked in oil and gas for a very long time. I've managed projects in Africa, Dubai, Europe, so around the world, literally. So how did I even get into networking, right? From business development, I realized that a lot of people were not leveraging opportunities and resources, right? That's number one. Number two, I believe that the world is a value hub and every human being is resourced. Everybody's uniquely resourced. Everybody has something to them, right? Everybody has something unique that they can project and they can offer, right? So for me, it was just, I was seeing people around me who were doing really well, but we're not really maximizing it. And that's how I said Karika Republic. And, you know, it's been amazing, right? In the last 3 years, empowered over 3,000 entrepreneurs, worked with so many people. One of my pet projects, which is how I met Busola, is the live series with Ms. Ibuka Washika, where I lead the leadership development team, you know, and for the organization, right? So what are you going to learn today? Again, I'm very big on learning outcomes because I think that your time is valuable. And, you know, your time is valuable. So number one, I want you to learn the benefits of networking and how to maximize networking, right? Number two, I want you to understand the principles behind networking. Number three, I want you to understand networking from a strategic angle. And then number four, I want you to learn how to create your network. And then additional tips I'll talk about networking, personal brand, and, you know, all these things will come full circle in my talk, right? So let's go. Who is ready? Who is ready?
We're ready.
Who is ready? Who is ready?
We're ready.
Okay, so firstly, and again, I'm also very interactive, so please get ready to use the comment section really, really well. So what is networking? What do you think networking is? And everybody talks about it. Hey, networking. Nigeria now, any event that you have, they'll say there'll be networking there and you want to go, right? So what is networking? What do you think networking is? Please type in the comment section. What do you think networking is? Everyone's talking about it. You should network. I must network. Hey, network. This one. See, in the last 2 years, most Nigerian events or events around the world generally talk about networking. So what is networking to you? Before I go on, I just want everybody to tell me, what do you think networking is? Tell me in the comment section. Don't worry, no answer is wrong. And this is another step in networking, not being afraid. Okay, fantastic. Getting to meet new people for career advancement, interesting. Okay, bring it on. Collaborating with new people, making lasting connections, meet and make most of the opportunity, meeting people to, fantastic. I like this. Networking is connecting with people, great. Telling people what you do, fantastic. Okay. Who is this person? Connecting with others for mutual value sharing. Were you in my class on Monday?
Yes, she was.
What? Olu was in my class, right?
She was.
Olu Adekoya. I think you were in my class. You literally. Okay. Yes. You were. I know you flourishing. Yes, because she talked about it on Instagram. Okay. Connecting, yes, dots. Fantastic. Yes. Okay, so networking, there's so many things about networking, right? Networking can mean so many things, but for me, I like to simplify it. Networking is sharing of value, right? So, and the truth is, there are different, when you want to break networking down, there are different levels and layers to this, right? But when you understand that networking is the sharing of value, is the exchange of value, right? That is what networking is. And when you now want to dissect value can be so many things, right? So can we all say together, networking is the exchange of value?
Networking is the exchange of value.
Great, fantastic.
Networking is the exchange of
Networking is the exchange of values.
Fantastic.
Networking is an exchange of value.
Great, fantastic. Okay. I really want to round up as fast as possible. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Networking is the exchange of value.
Okay, great. So let me just keep it running. So networking is the exchange of value. And what does value even mean, right? At the core of it, number one, I'll break it down, value, and I'll break what networking is. You need to understand that there are different types of network. So you have the challenge is that most of the time people are trying to, and your personal network is your friends, your family, your inner circle, yes, people are your friends, right? Those are your personal networks. your operational networks are people in your industry, people that generally are not exactly your friends, but you know, you can interact, your colleagues, you know, people who you have mutual things bringing you together, right? And then the last one is your strategic network. And your strategic network is quite targeted, right? I will explain differences between this, right? But number one, for you to even network, what, like, because I look at it, okay, networking is this and all of that, right? But number one, for you, I can give you all the strategies in the world. I can give you so many things on how I've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I can offer my value proposition to the world. It will be a challenge for you. So you need to understand that you are valuable, right? And how do you even do that? It's not just, again, one of the things I keep saying is that division gets clearer in the doing, you know. Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened to my network. You need to understand that you're valuable because it would affect everything else. The perception, when you don't see yourself as valuable, right, it would affect everything. How you show up, how people treat you, because people never treat you better than you treat yourself. How people treat you, it would affect how you put yourself out there, how you request for promotions, how you even do your work. Because for example, now if I know that excellence is non-negotiable for me, I would never ever want to drop the ball, right? And it would affect everything I do, my thought process, my mindset, how I look at things, how I look at myself, how I show up. Even if I'm doing something as simple as frying plantain, the way, because I understand that Karika is valued, the way I would fry my plantain, the way I would set it up would be very different. So the number one thing in networking is understanding that you are valuable. Is understanding, because a lot of things, people, when I talk to people, they're like, oh, Karika, I'm dealing with imposter syndrome. You know, I don't have self-confidence. I don't think I have anything to offer to the world and all of that. It all boils down to how you see yourself. Very, very important, right? And reasons why it's important to see yourself as valuable. Number one, could affect how external factors influence your inner sense of value. See, let me just tell you, in this life, you get rejections. You get people who think that, because what's very superficial, people are very myopic. People don't think so deep, right, anymore. So a lot of times, people look at you, and in 30 seconds you're making a judgment of who they think you are, you know, and that is what the world has become today. So you need to understand that sometimes you face rejection, sometimes you meet people who think that, oh, you know what, you're not anything. But until when you understand that you're valuable, you just take these things in grand stride. You're like, okay, it's one of those things, and you keep it moving. It doesn't affect how you see yourself. I've seen people that they cannot move on to the next level, they cannot ask for promotions because they've had people who had talked down at them, and because of that, they think that they are useless or they cannot do anything with their lives, right? It's very important to understand that you're valuable. Number two, it allows you, it controls who, it helps to control your narrative, right? Who you allow into your life, your stakeholders. You need to understand that everybody that is in your life is saying something to you, is speaking into your future, is affecting how you make decisions, right? So, but when you understand that you're valuable, you're able to control who comes into your life. For example, now the fact that you are here, right? It shows that you, I think that you have a community of people who understand that this thing is valuable, and then they've asked you to come here. So when you understand you're valuable, it helps you control your narrative. Number three, it keeps you focused, right? So when you have your eyes on the prize, like I said, even when things do not go right, because life would happen, good things to come, bad things will happen, right? But when you understand that, for example, I keep saying that there are things that, you know, people seem like, oh, Karika, you're so good, you're so this, you're so that. I'm like, yes, but guess what? I've failed a lot of times. There's a project that I was doing that nobody understood what I was going to do it anyway. Like, I failed 6 times. Six times, and it wasn't like this project were things that, I mean, this is me in my engineering field. I'm good at my game. I've led projects around the world 6 times, and they were not cheap, right? And I failed at it over and over and over again. In fact, it even became a game for me. I was like, you know what, let's get to the end of this thing, you know. And one of the things that when you understand that you're valuable, it keeps you focused. So obviously, yes, will I feel bad when those things fail? Of course, I'm human, my money is going and all of that, but it didn't make me, the project failed, right? Obviously, Karika, what were contributing factors? What could you have done better? How could you have improved your process? What could you have done and all of that, right? I took those things into consideration, but it didn't make against my value proposition. When you understand that you're valuable, you're able to position yourself for opportunities. You understand that, you know, you have unique giftings, you have multiple giftings that can be leveraged per time, per season. And when you understand that you're valuable, you're able to convert those things to value propositions that can help the world, right? So very, very important. Understand that you're valuable. And one of the things I'm going to tell everybody to do here, it's an assignment when you get home, please do it, is take stock of your life, take inventory of your life. What can I do? What are those things that I can do? Okay, I mean I don't really know so much about the law, the legal profession, but I mean I know that there are different, okay, there's litigation, there's, I mean, all things you talked about here. So what do I like? What am I passionate about? Even if I like this thing, how can I improve on these things? Or how can I get better? Or how can I get to my next goal, right? Take inventory of your life. And you would understand, because a lot of times, why this is very good is that a lot of times we beat down ourselves. We're like, oh, I did school abroad, or oh, I don't have this degree, or oh, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter, right? You need to understand firstly that you're valuable, and then when you actually take inventory of your life, you understand that you've done so much. The challenge that a lot of times we're waiting for the big things to happen. Oh, until you become a SAN, SAN, until you win a case that is worth, I don't know, billions or something, then you think you've arrived. No, little things matter. Celebrate your little, I don't even like the word little because I think that everything adds up. So celebrate your milestones, celebrate where you are, because until you do that, how do you even move to the next level, right? So celebrate where you are, celebrate how far you've come, or you put yourself through school, or you're here. Yes, it might not be what you want to be, but you're here right now. So how about you celebrate it, right? Because you will need it to network. You will need it to introduce yourself. You need it to, sorry, I don't know what's stopping me here. You need it to network, right? And that's why I'm starting. That's why it is really, really important. It is extremely important. If not, all these things I will tell you, say, hey, yeah, it's great. It was fantastic. Oh, the class was great, but you will not invent. So understand that you're valuable. It is a fundamental. It is anything else builds upon it. And it is not just for networking. It's even for how you show up in your life. It's even for the kind of people you allow in your life. It's even for the fact that sometimes, because how do you even stand on your core values when you don't even understand that you're valuable? Because anything people say would get to you. Any wind of doctrine or anything. I mean, there are things that I believe in and people are not exactly agreeing. That's fine. That's okay. But it is me. Really have a stand for yourself. So it's really, really important, right? Great. Next thing, benefits of, sorry. Are we together? So, I mean, there's so many benefits of networking, opens doors to opportunities, it creates strategic visibility, right? Also, you gain knowledge and, you're able to expand your resources. No man is an island. You need everybody. You learn from everybody. Big, small, old, young. I mean, I learn from everybody, everything. Friction, non-friction, everything, That's what networking does to you, right? It also helps you to get fresh ideas and perspective on things because, like I said, nobody knows everything, right? It also helps you to strengthen business connections, right? So I've talked about the benefits of networking. Next thing I'm going to talk about is, sorry, there's something distracting me. There's like, I don't know. Okay. So the different aspects of networking. Just give me a minute. So I'm going to talk about networking from the part of number versus impact, the networking web, the value of weak ties, networking structure, and understanding social capital, right? Are we ready? So, question for you, when you go to a place, or really, how do you network? So people should give me examples. How do you network? When they say networking, what comes to mind and how do you network? Please share in the comments section. How do you network? Is it by sharing your cards? I mean, just tell me. I mean, it's a, what's it called? It's an interactive class. Volunteering, fantastic. Great. Okay. Saying hi to the next person, introducing myself, asking questions, great. How did you hear about the event? Okay, conversations, really. Okay, great, great. Connecting. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Conversations and follow-up, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, great. One of the things I also want everybody to understand is that networking is a lifestyle, right? That's another thing. Networking is a lifestyle. A lot of times sorry, I'm looking at the comments. Ask a question, fantastic, fantastic, great. Okay, so back to what I wanted to say. So a lot of times networking is a lifestyle, and it's something that I want you to keep at the back of your mind. Networking is a lifestyle. You can network anywhere with anybody, right? Like, so one layer is that networking is the exchange of value. Another thing is networking is also connecting with other human beings. And other human beings, I'm not saying professionals or colleagues or anything, other human beings, right? You can connect somebody in the supermarket. Hello, hi, like what everybody said, saying hello to someone, conversations and follow up. There are no rules to these things. It's not until you go to a conference that you can network. It's not until you go to, or at the office or somewhere legal. Anywhere, you can network anywhere, supermarket, church, mosque, anywhere, party, on the road. I mean, you can network anywhere. It just starts from saying hi. One hello, do you understand? One hello. So those are some of the ways to network, right? Another way you can network is leveraging your existing network, and that's one of the fastest ways to network, because the truth is that in the world that we live in, people are also very skeptical. Nobody wants to be used. Nobody wants to feel like, oh, that's one. Number two, trust takes a lot of time to build, right? Because in networking is also, like I said, like any relationship building activity, right? It takes time and it requires trust and credibility, right? So if you were to, for some people that you just meet, well, you might have to go down that route. But for other people, you can meet people through your existing network. So people in your life, what are you doing? Who are they? How are you even building? Because I see someone who said things like, oh, networking is meeting new people and all of that. Yes, great, that's part of it. But also, how are you leveraging your existing network? How are you nurturing your current network? How are you nurturing the relationships that you have right now? How are you building that relationship, and how are you expanding through those people that you know? One of the best ways to network. So for example, now imagine that Mrs. Fumi Roberts here, right? If you imagine that maybe you want to meet her and Busola tells her about you and says, oh, there's this person, she'll be like, okay, interesting, because it is Busola that is referring you. She knows Busola, and I believe that, she trusts Busola. But imagine that you see her on the road and you say, good afternoon, ma. She would answer you, she would say hello to you. But you might not, the access that you get would not be immediate, because obviously she needs to get to know you first. Do you understand? So that's the power of existing, of leveraging your existing network, right? You can also network with social media. In fact, the class I had on Monday was for how do you network in COVID season, because right now there's Corona, most places in the world are on a lockdown. How are you leveraging social media, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, what are the other platforms? I don't know what TikTok is. I know that people, so I don't even know how to use it. But yes, how are you leveraging these platforms? How are you reaching out to people? If you are a consultant on your own, right? How are you reaching out to your clients? How are you saying hello to them? How are you asking them if they're keeping safe? Another thing to understand is that in networking, right, you need to understand that human beings are emotional beings. Everybody, human beings are emotional beings. So caring about people goes a long way. Kindness is a fantastic tool in networking. Just being authentic, being interested in other people and their needs. So for example, now everybody here, if you've not told your clients, your bosses, if you've not checked on them, you should, because you'll remember that you checked on them, right? It's very important. And that's how you actually, because networking has to be authentic. If you really want to get the best out of it, if you want things that are sustainable, it has to be authentic. So do you genuinely care? Is it until you have an ask that you got a network? Oh, you want to ask for something? Are you that kind of person that when you start greeting people very well, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, they'll say, what do you want? Because it's only when you need something you say hello to people, right? So you need to understand that in networking, being interested in other people is a game changer. It does change a lot of things, right? Another thing to also understand is, so I'm going to talk about impacts versus numbers. So in networking, I see that a lot of people, when they go for events, they're just sharing their business cards and all of that. That is great. That's okay. But another way, or a more effective way, is for you to actually build have conversations, right? So make authentic connections rather than just sharing your business card. If you share your business cards to 50 people, right, and they don't even remember you, I mean, how does that even add up? How would you follow up with them? I can say, hi, I'm this person that gave you my business card, because there was no connection per se. So I would say that while number is great, quantity is great, quality is better, right? So understand.
Yes. Can you just keep quiet, Mojoy?
Okay. So while quality is great, while quantity is great, quality is also is better. And I think you also need to do is understand the value of weak ties. So like I said, networking is like a web. It's like a spider web, right? You have your first layer, you have your second layer, you have your third layer. A lot of times we are so focused on our inner circle, right? You need to, what are you doing? You get a lot of information and opportunities from people in the outer layer, because those are people that, people in your circle is like, oh, all your friends, like imagine that all my best friends are lawyers, right? And we do everything together. And I'm not trying to network with other people. I might be limited in the kind of opportunities I get because it's coming from, if all of us are lawyers, it means that we are all getting our resources from most likely the same place. We don't really have an overview of other industries or what's happening in other places, right? So another thing is, yes, your inner circle should be your inner circle, very important. You need to have your family and friends and that circle close to you, but you need to also reach out, right? Audit your network. Ask yourself, do I have people in other areas and industries? Because, for example, as a lawyer, your clients are not going to be in legal field. I believe your clients will be in other sectors, right? So how are you diversifying, right? That's the word. How are you diversifying? How are you talking to other people? How are you reaching out to other people in other industries? How are you understanding the fact that, so for example, now, when you know what's happening in other industries, you can position yourself for opportunities. Sorry, that thing that's when I was stopping me. You can position yourself for opportunities, right? So how are you diversifying, right? Another thing I'm also going to talk about is, so I've talked about networking structure. I've talked about the fact that you might think of networking as a web. Yes, and you know how a spider web has different layers to it, right? So audit your network. Ask yourself, people in my network, how diverse is my network, right? You don't have to be best friends with everybody. And that's why I said that you have your personal network, you have your professional network. Be at peace with all men, right? Talk to people and all of that. You don't have to, because I said a lot of people, for example, I had a client that was asking me, like, oh, Karika, how can I network people without getting personal? I'm like, think about it as a business, from a business point of view, right? You don't have to be, and that's why you also need to be very clear about value, right? So there are so many things to talk about. Do your research. That's another thing. Sorry, I keep saying things as they come to my head, even though I have a plan of what we're going to talk about. Another thing that is also very important is research. Do your research in networking. So for example, now you're going for a conference, right? Who is going to be speaking there, right? What have they done? Research, because when you meet them, imagine just going to say, hello, Busala, I like your work very much. I think it's fantastic. Okay, great. That's fine. She'll be like, oh, thank you very much. But imagine they say, hello, Busala, first of all, what you said during the class, you can outline points that she spoke about and said, oh, it's so interesting because I read your work on lawyers.
I'm not sure about that.
Sorry, Alexa, stop. So, versus you seeing her and saying, hi, Busola, what you said during the conference, you can outline like 2 things she talked about. And then you can also say stuff like, oh, maybe I read an article that you wrote 3 days ago or 10 years ago. Who do you think should listen to more? So again, do your research so that you don't see people and ask them things that are easily on Google. Right, that is a really big turn off when it comes to networking. So do your research, and when you do your research, what it also does is that you're armed with knowledge and information. A lot of times, people do not know how to continue conversations because they don't know what to say. Right, so do your research, read wide, understand and also step out of your comfort zone. Not every time, law. Go and check out what engineers are doing. Go and check out what find out. Just learn. You never know how it would come in handy for you. Like, for example, two examples. Number one, and this is an example of kindness, right? So number one, I met this lady at the airport, or either one same flight, and her slippers cut. And me, for some funny reason, I always have extra bedroom slippers. I give her the extra bedroom slippers, you know, and then we just got talking, right? Oh, thank you, exchange numbers. That was it, right? And then I buzzed her later. I'm like, hey, hope you're good. I hope you've gotten slippers now. I mean, that was follow up. I hope you've gotten slippers now. She's like, yes. And I'm like, oh, why are you even in this place for? She's like, oh, she said for this. I'm like, oh, I'm here for this too. And I was talking about engineering. I think that she's a consultant, and I mean, I was talking about engineering and all of that. This we just kept on keeping in touch. And I think I also do is I followed her on Instagram, right? So from Instagram or social media, if they're on social media, what that does to you is that it helps you to understand the kind of people they are. It helps you to understand their likes and dislikes. It also helps you to, it's also good conversation, whatever. So if, for example, now I start following Busola and I see that Busola likes flowers or roses or something, right? On her birthday, I can send her flowers. I don't need to ask. So on Instagram now, maybe somebody thoughtful comment or this, your caption was very interesting. Again, you're engaging. It's also networking, right? It doesn't always have to be face to face, right? It doesn't always have to be until something happens, right? That is how you also follow up and engage with people. Anyway, back to my story. So long story short, and literally, she was like, oh, Karika, I know that, first of all, they wanted somebody, they wanted a team lead who would, they were like that, kindness was a huge factor for the project. I'm like, I don't understand. It's not engineering, it was kindness inside. But it was between sleepers that we met. Did I know that in few years' time we'd have this kind of collaboration? No, I didn't know. So another thing, that's a keep saying the vision client is doing. Also, you just never know. Life happens. You're not God. You don't see the end from the beginning, right? So go with the flow, and keep nurturing the relationship, right? And I think I'm going to talk about the social capital. So remember what I said about sometimes we network or we reach out to people, right? It's a it's an ineffective way to network because nobody wants to feel like you're using them, right? So for example, how are you helping others? So think of networking as, or helping people, or networking generally as a seed. You shouldn't network because you have an ask in the future. No, it would still catch up with you later in life, because like I said, for you to have sustainable, real networking, you need to be very, very genuine. You need to be very genuine. If you are too calculated, it will catch up with you, right? So you can, and that's why I said that there's strategic networking, but you still need to be genuine in it. Then authenticity is also, somebody is sharing their screen. Authenticity is also very miss out on opportunities if you keep looking at things from that point of view. This person cannot. I shall do it for me. I cannot. When they were, the people that I've met as junior staff that they empower, they build. These people are now working in embassies, working whatever. You think that if they need anything, they will not open the door for them. So you need to also understand that life happens. You miss out when you put cap on people. This person now, I cannot. In fact, when these people, for example, there's somebody I met in 2015, I think, and I just met her. I was nice to her. We just said exchange numbers, all of that. New government, new everything, power has changed hands, she got into government and all of that. Who do you think that, and I mean, I'm still adding value to myself, so it's not as if, oh, I'm going from a place of, oh, I'm begging you or anything. But the truth is that when you get to that level, me that have been there from the beginning versus you who is just coming, there'll be more skeptical. Even if you have genuine intentions, there'll be more skeptical. They're just like, now that I'm in a new position, I'm in government now, everybody wants to be my friend, everybody wants to talk to me. You know, it might be difficult for you to break into the person or their circle, right? So again, practice social capital. You never know. You never know. You know, you never know. The initiative that Mrs. Robert has coming up, volunteer. You just don't know. You never know. You never know the opportunities that you meet there. You never know the people you meet. You never know the doors you will open, right? Very important. So let me just quickly wrap up because I want to take questions. So I've talked about, so another thing, so steps in networking, number one, be yourself. The best way to network is to leverage your natural strengths. The mistake a lot of people make is when they're trying to, when you're not authentic, you struggle with networking. When you're not leveraging your strengths, you struggle with networking. So be yourself. Be yourself. See, and just that you don't have to network with everybody at the same time. I mean, you're only one person. How many people do you want to network with? Do you understand? If you have to change yourself or change your core values to network, it's not going to last because the day will come and you're just like, oh, I'm tired. So be yourself, you know, learn how to leverage your strengths. And that's why that something that I gave to you is very important. Taking inventory of your value, right, is really, really important. Another thing you should do is also prepare ahead of time. So like I said, research, prepare ahead of time. Here I would say try and have an elevator pitch, right? Because it helps you to introduce yourself from a place of value, right? It might be mechanical at first, but the more you do it, the easier it will become. So have an elevator pitch. When you reach out to people, what do you say? You know, if you were to meet people at an event or a business event, what are you going to say to them, right? So have an elevator pitch. Very, very important, right? Another thing you also, so again, read, like I said, read wide, read stuff, read wide, very important. Have your elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch should contain your name, your business name, you know, and how you're going to add value, right? Another thing also in networking is learn to listen. A lot of times we are listening to respond. You need to listen to hear. You need to listen so that, because how do you even follow up? How do you even ask questions? Because it's like somebody's talking about something and then you're not even listening. You don't build good relationships that way. Listen to what people are saying. Listen to what people are saying. And that's how you're able to follow up. That's how you're able to actually have genuine conversations, right? That's how you also know where to add value and how you can add value, right? Another thing again is, you know, like I said, learn to help, learn to give, you know, learn to learn to give. Very important. People are taking some, people are watching you. You just never know. So learn to give, learn to help, it's very important. Another thing again with networking is build your personal brand. Very important. Why? The world that we live in is very digital, right? Gone are the days where people are, I mean, with the internet and with things like social media, right? All people need to do is look you up. So when people look you up, what are they saying about you? You know, so for example, I mean, somebody meets you and, you know, oh, wow, Emanuela is fantastic. I like how she spoke. Oh my God, Morenike was great. She spoke so well and all of that, right? And they're like, I mean, people will check you up on Google and then they check you up and they can't really say anything about you, number one. Or they see things about you and, you know, they're very iffy, they're very funny and they're like, okay, maybe she's not really who I thought she was, right? It's going to affect, I mean, nobody wants wahala, do you understand? And that's why sometimes you're worried that, this person I talked to, she was very kind and she was very nice to me when I spoke to her. But it felt like when I followed up with her, she was acting funny because, again, what's on the internet about you? What is, when they check you online, what's there? You need to check that out. It's very, very important. Also, building your personal brand is it's another way to fast track your networking. So for example, now, it's one of the things I use all the time because, like I said, trust and credibility is a tool in networking, right? And the fastest way one of the ways to do that is to already have your personal brand ready for people. So for example, I met this lady, actually saw her on somebody's Insta story, not even Instagram, Insta story, right? She is Kenyan. She's done a lot of work with the Kenyan government in energy. I remember that I used to work in energy, right? So I liked what she'd done. Like, you know, she had a business and she was trying to make energy accessible to like everybody, like the grassroots. So I was really interested. So I liked it. And then I followed her on Instagram. Yes, I followed her on Instagram. And then next thing, I was working, I got busy and I went to do other things. And I came back and I saw that she had followed me back, right? And then I was like, oh, so I sent her a message. I'm like, hey, I think that your work is really, really good. She's like, oh, I think your work is also good. That's why I followed you immediately, because I went to check you out and I've seen all the things you had done and all of that. So like I said, no long story. No need to start saying, hello, introducing yourself, spending time, your personal brand works for you. It does wonders. It does wonders. When you hear, oh, Laura, I got her name right, Laura Alakija, by the time you just go and check her out, you're like, okay, I want to talk to this person, I want to connect to this person. Or Mrs. Fumi Roberts, I mean, she's done so much. You really want to talk to her. You're like, oh, and I see people, this is my mentor, because of her personal brand. But what is your own personal brand saying, right? You need to understand that trust, integrity is very important, right? And also, that's one hand. Another part, you need to keep your integrity. Let your yes be yes. Let people be able to vouch for you. Let people say that, because that's another thing. Networking is a game of trust. If I'm going to introduce Busola to somebody, it means I can vet her. I can say, this lady would, and I trust her. If people don't trust you, they would not recommend you. They would not introduce to other people, because they're like, I don't want to come and say something about me, or do something that will make people look at me funny. So trust is very important in networking, right? Are you someone of integrity, right? Are you someone who, when you actually say you do things, you actually do it, right? Really, really important. Rounding up now, another thing is set networking goals. Like I said, if you do not, vision gets clear in the doing. If you do not give yourself targeted goals, you might not do anything. Tell yourself that, see, this week I'll say hello to somebody. It can be that simple. I'll say hello to somebody, right? Give yourself goals, manage your network, right? So for example, now, some days I'll just say, Karika, Parabale, calm down. What you're going to do today is you're going to reach out to everybody. I mean, you can't reach out to everybody, right? But at least maybe I'll say today, I'll send 30 people messages. Hi, you hope you're okay. This Corona time, hope you're good, hope you're keeping safe, all of that, right? It's a way to, yes, you can start sending your questions because I'm rounding up now. It's a way to manage your network. Check on people, tell yourself, what's it called? Even when you want to test ideas with people, plan it. You don't just come and overwhelm people immediately, right? Be strategic about these things, right? Plan your network, manage your network. Another thing you also need to do is take inventory of your network and classify people into where they belong. This is a personal network. This is an operational network. This is a strategic network. So that what's the word? So that because I see a lot of people, you meet Busola today, right? In what's it called? I don't know, in a legal conference gathering or something. And then you people say hello, hi, maybe you have very, very interesting banter. And then your birthday is tomorrow, she does not call you and then you're angry. Why are you angry? Is she your friend? I mean, she's your operational, you need to actually categorize people, because I've seen that a lot of people are very entitled and people have high expectations. Oh, you met Laura here or something, and then you meet her and say, oh, you need a job. I mean, it's if she wants to, or if she has contact of people that she thinks, or if she feels that she can help you, she can. But it's not a right? So you need to categorize your network so that because a lot of times you see people trying to convert their personal network into business network, or trying to convert their business network into personal network. No. Can your business network people become your personal network in the future? Yes, they can, because I mean, like I said, it gets clear. I have people who we set up as business partners, and they are some of my bestest friends today. They are within my inner circle. They evolved. We realized that, oh, more and more we enjoy each other's company. Oh, we had the same interests, we had the same taste for different things, right? And so we actually built a friendship. But it doesn't always have to be that way, right? You cannot be 100% friends. If we use the real word of friendship with everybody, yes, you can, people can be in your network, you can have fantastic platonic relationships, but you don't, because I see that a lot of times, one of the things that when I talk to people, is that they have very high expectations from people who are literally just in their business networks, right? So wrapping things up, understand that, I mean, I can talk about networking for 2 hours, but I really want us to round up. And also, I know you've been here for a while. So wrapping things up, understand that you're valuable, very important. Take inventory of your skills. Again, you evolve. The more you do, the more you realize you can do. You know, the more you realize what works for you, the more you realize what does not work for you, right? Also, network from a place of authenticity, very important. If you have to, networking is not to change your personality. Networking is to leverage your strengths to connect with other people. So you can be an introvert and network. You can be an extrovert and network. For me now, my energy is one of the things like, yeah, I'm very energetic, so it helps me, right? But another thing, I'm very, very observant, extremely observant to a fault. And what that does for me is that I listen. I'm able to listen. I'm able to hear. I'm able to connect the dots. And I know how to, because of that, it helps me connect people better. Because I have the ability to connect the dots. I'm observing, oh, okay. I remember that when Busola was talking to me, she was telling somebody, yes, ma, please, you can. Yes, please, you can. Whoops, Nigeria. Let me put on the inverter.
Karika, I'm not suggesting that I come in now, but when you finish.
Okay. All right. So yes, I was saying that, you know, you're able to connect the dots, right? So I'm very observant, you know, and another thing people need to learn how to start connecting the dots. A lot of times you network in isolation. People that you're networking with, who are they connected to? You know, what do they do? Read about people, right? Read about them, understand them. You don't always have to be somebody say something to you. We have 24 hours in a day. How many times do people really talk to you in a day? Do you understand? So read about people, find out how the dots connect to people, their experiences, the things they have done. Very important. You want to network, you want to really network and get value from networking, learn how to connect the dots. Very, very important, right? So yes, I'm going to start taking questions now. And let me Mrs. Robert speak, and then please ask me your questions after.
Thank you very much, Karika. I couldn't stop writing or taking notes. And believe me, I validated so many things that I know and even more. I just want to say that if I'm going to summarize a part of what you've said, I'll say that it's important for you to develop an attractive value proposition for yourself. I hear you say that. There's something you said that also spoke to me, which is waiting for the big things to happen. Now, why that resonated with me was the fact that when I wanted to write my first CV, and I just sat down and I realized that I had done so much that I didn't even think about until I sat down to write my CV. So whatever you do that adds value is not wasted. Somewhere along the line, you would need it. Now, let me just share this with you. It's a story about connecting the dots. I went I always had a business card since I started my law practice. And then I went to Rome 2 years ago for a conference. And one of the authors I liked reading was Natalie Cohen. And I said to myself, would Natalie be here? And I realized that she was going to be at an LCIA event. I registered for that event.
I think Arika should just go on while we wait for Mrs. Roberts.
Okay. So yes, everybody, you can ask me your questions now.
I think Mrs. Robert is having.
She's back.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it was my network, but I'm back now. So when I got to Lagos, I quickly printed a new set of business card with my picture on it, with the way I would like everybody to see me and know me. And then I went to Dubai for a meeting, and somebody said, oh, he wants me to meet the head of arbitration of a large firm. I'd never heard his name before. I said, why not? I'm already in Dubai. And I went to meet with him. And then he asked me, Mrs. Roberts, there's a Dubai arbitration week going to happen in November. Would you like to come and give a presentation on arbitration in Africa? I jumped at the chance. It was going to cost me money. It was going to cost me my time. But I said to myself, an opportunity, because in 1 week, there'll be about 50-something events. Some paid, most unpaid. I wasn't going to miss on that opportunity. And I went there with my cards, with my face on it. And I gave it out to us. But after I had delivered a presentation that I was proud of, and quite a number of people came up to me and said, Mrs. Rowe, that was fantastic. We now know more about Africa. And I was wearing an African attire. I wanted to be different from everybody in the room. What did I say? I said, become an unforgettable fixture in people's minds. A few weeks down the line, I just received a message from one of the people I had met in Dubai saying that Mrs. Roberts would like to consider appointing you for an arbitration, an international arbitration. I was like, wow. And how does this resonate? You should be able to see the connect between this and what Karika just taught us. You have to invest not only in yourself, in forming those relationships. And for me, it has worked for me. So I'm just, that card, because you're going to meet so many people. How many names, how many faces can you remember? And the lady who called me from Dubai said, Mrs. Robert, on a daily basis, I look at your card, and believe me, a week ago, I'd gone to do the same cards because I was going to Europe for a conference. Thank you for letting me know about that. And then she probably appointed me for an arbitration. And I'm saying to myself that you develop your social capital, you develop attractive value propositions, and you give as much as you get. Thank you very much, Karika.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you so. I mean, literally, you know, she literally summed it up. And very, very interesting point. Very, very fantastic. And that's why I keep saying, everybody build your personal brand. You need to and you need to be very intentional. So, for example, now what she said was, see, imagine, please, can we just write it down, because you can implement this in your own way. So when you're going for a conference, when you're going for something, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to be different, right? In a good way, please. How are you going to be different? You know, how are you going to stand out? And in fact, one of the things that what she said even validated something that I do whenever I'm going for conferences, especially international conferences. Sometimes I might wear like my normal suit and jackets and all of that. But when we have, because usually all these conferences usually have gala events like in the night, or you have like a roundup dinner or something, right? I would go dressed in African, you know, really, because there are Igbo people there. They're not going to wear African dress. So already that already makes me stand out. Do you understand? So many things, so many learnings that she said. Please pick it and, you know, learn from it. There are so many things. There's so many things. Connecting the dots, remembering people, differentiating yourself. I like the idea of her picture on her business card. It makes her very unforgettable, right? Because like literally all you have is your name, and you know, for her, she has that, and you can remember her easily, right? So thank you so much, Ma, for sharing. We really appreciate. People, can you ask me questions? There's something she said that I also remember. She talked about your value proposition, very, very important. And, you know, like I said, there are layers to this thing. Understanding your value and, you know, taking inventory of your value proposition and intentionally asking yourself, how can I add value to other people? Because sometimes you say, oh, I have this value, but I don't know what to do. And it can be things in the legal profession or outside. So for example, I'm someone who is very supportive. It's something that comes to me naturally. You know, somebody is in something, I want to help. And I found that, and you need to understand that for people in the business leaders, executives, and all of that, they don't really need your money. They don't want you want to buy for them and all of that. But when you are supportive, that is gold. Oh, this person is trying to do this project, right? She might not have all the time in the world. Well, I might not have all the time in the world, but at least I can manage my own time somehow. And I'm able to help this person run with the project, right? It's that support, you know, and that way you get access, you get access, it expands your network, because in the course of the project, you're meeting other people too. You're meeting other professionals, you're meeting other people, their friends, their colleagues. So again, ask yourself, how can I mean, support is not an engineering thing. Support is not a human capital development thing, right? It's just something that comes natural. So ask yourself, are you supportive? Are you someone who likes to sing? I mean, whatever value or talent that you think you have, write it down and ask yourself how you can convert it to value, right? So thank you, people. Questions. How do you get rid of people who believe that when you start a conversation, it means you're a busybody? Again, there are layers to these things. Number one, you need to also understand that the way you think that, number one, ask yourself, right? I mean, firstly, ask yourself, how do I approach people? Because you might also, I mean, you know, the way you keep saying, for me, I believe everything is two-sided. So whenever somebody tells me something, I'm always like, look at it from your own, I always check myself in people's shoes, right? So for example, now, there was someone that I met, and because I'm very, I'm like, hello, good afternoon, how you doing, la, 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 la. This Oyibo person freaked out. Oyibo people are not very, they are very solemn and conservative, right? And this person freaked out, and in my head, I'm just like, this person said that, you know, why are they acting all snobbish and all of that? But when I got back home, I had to ask myself, I was like, Karika, how do you approach this person? You came on too strong, right? So you need to also ask yourself, was there anything that and I'm answering Tokpa's question, was there anything I did to make the person feel like I'm acting like a busybody, right? So ask yourself truthfully. And if you think that, you know what, no, maybe then if you think that, you know, you didn't really do that, then maybe, you know, it's okay. Like I said, you cannot connect with everybody at the same time. Number two, people are very myopic. A lot of Nigerians, they want to network with you when they think that they can get something from you, or when they think that you have something to offer. So sometimes you meet people that, and I say a lot of people because, for example, now in my what's it called? Engineers are very conservative people, right? But people who are not really out there. So I remember that when I first came on Instagram, I was just on Instagram, but I wasn't active. Nobody really knew what I was doing or anything, right? And people, if you know Instagram very well, and I know how Instagram, they look at influencers that, until you have 1 million followers, then you are doing something big in your life and all of that. But I was like, hey, I was doing good things and I was just living my life outside social media. What's my business with social media? You know, but I met people that, so when I go for events and I'm like saying hello to people, and they just act funny, like, hi, and you know, they carry their faces and they talk to all their Instagram people, and they talk to all their Instagram people and all of that, right? And then when I became active on Instagram about 1.5 years ago, and I started, talking about different things I have done and all of that, these are the same people that, came around, hi, Karika, la, 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 la. And it just, I mean, me, I'll never act anyhow because, like I said, I just throw those things away and just keep you moving. So again, that's why I said that, again, you need to also understand that sometimes, I mean, when you've asked yourself truly like, was there anything I did to contribute to this? And if you think that the answer is no, then just let it be. You don't have to connect with people. There are people that maybe we could have connected 4 years ago, but again, like I said, because of how short-sighted they were and all of that, now, you know, now we are all connected and everything, but obviously we're connected on a business level. It cannot be at least for now, not my personal network. Do you understand? So again, understand that times and seasons, people are also very short-sighted, people are very myopic, and also sometimes we have a part to play, right? So I hope I answered your question. Sorry, I'm looking at Karika, I'm multi-gifted and I initiate relationship, I prioritize. How have you been successful following up and sustaining most of the relationships? Again, that's why I said you need to plan your network. For me, I'm very intentional about it. I'm always very intentional about things I do, right? So again, I'm very busy. I have things I'm doing and all of that, but I take out time. I will try and take out, no matter how busy I am, even if it's 2 hours every, sometimes I'll say, okay, you know what, Karika, you've been so busy and you've been so absorbed in your own bubble that you haven't even reached out to other people. So even if it is 30 minutes a day, even if it is when I'm in traffic, that I'm just saying, all you need to do is to just say hello to somebody, right? And another thing I leverage very well is social media, because a lot of people on social media, a lot of people would post something on their WhatsApp, a lot of people will post on LinkedIn. So once I see your post, I will comment or I will like it. It's a way to reach out to people without reaching out, because it's not every time that you want to have conversations, talk on the phone. I mean, I can't do that, always talking on the phone, because I won't be able to do other things. So I leverage things like social media. I leverage things on like birthdays. I have birthday reminders for everybody. Your birthday is a great time to reach out and say hello to you. I leverage things like Happy New Month. If I feel like I've been out of touch with people for a very long time, I'll just send Happy New Month, Happy New Month. It's a way to start conversation. It's a way to just tell people that, oh, I'm looking out, I'm thinking about you. It doesn't have to lead, you don't have to talk as far, oh, how are you now? Then spend 5 hours on the phone. No, but just that thought that, oh, I'm thinking about you, or you came to my mind, it does go a long way, right? So that's what I would say, right? And also times and seasons. There are some times that, oh, I'm in this season and I feel like this is what I should focus on, right? And then other times, because you are evolving, your life is evolving, your life is getting busy. But I would just say that take out time to reach out to people, right? I audit my network. I look at people, I've not talked to this person in a very long time. Auntie BC, I've not said hello to her. Oh yeah, well, I'll say hello to her today. Do you understand? I look at that. I look at things like that from time to time, and I'm very intentional about it, right? I've not talked with people. Again, it depends. So Mary, I'm asking you a question. I've never talked with people I feel would make a good fit for an episode in my podcast. Will it be too forward of me to reach out if they'll be interested to interview, or do I have to warm up to them first?
Okay, I think we lost Karika. Can we hear me? Okay, we are bringing her back.
Yes, Busola, I can hear you.
About would it be too forward to, if she just met someone that she thinks can be in her podcast, would it be too forward for her to ask them to be there, or do I have to warm up to them first? So again, it depends, right? Number one, it depends on what you talked about during the conversation. Number two, it also depends on your value proposition, right? So there are people that I have met today, and literally we've talked business, and there are people that I've met today that I have paid for something that they are offering today. And the people that I've met today that they've paid for something I'm offering today, right? So it also depends on how you show up. And that's why I said that what Mrs. Roberts said about value proposition is very important, because it depends on how the conversation went, right? And it depends on how the conversation went. But I would say that whatever you do, always, because it's a value thing, I think that you can go ahead and ask them, but again, have come with a very strong value proposition. Why would they want to be on your podcast, right? Is this something that is aligned with what they want, right? Is this something that is aligned with their own values? Is this something that they feel like they're interested in? Do they even want to be associated with you, right? So very, very important. I would say that whether you ask them today or tomorrow, whatever time you decide to do, again, it's up to you. It depends on how your conversation went. But whatever time you decide to ask them, always come to a very strong value proposition. Very, very important. Come to a very strong value proposition. So that, because people don't have to be your friends to show up on things you have done, right? If you have a podcast, okay, for example, now you have a podcast that, oh, Busola spoke yesterday, Mrs. Roberts spoke 2 weeks ago, Tara spoke 3 weeks ago, right? And you're able to, oh, hi, I think that based on what we talked about, I feel like you'll be good fit for this because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And this podcast, we've had people like A, B, C, D in the past, right? They would most likely come on board. But when your value proposition is not very clear, there's no clear alignment between what you're offering and what they want to do, it might. So I would say always have a very clear value proposition. It doesn't matter whether, even if it's somebody, I mean, even if you know me for a very long time and you want me to do some things, especially things that has to do with public face, I have to be out there. I need to be sure that our values align. It doesn't really matter, even if you've known me forever. I need to be sure that our values align because, again, my personal brand is very important to me. My reputation is very important to me. So there are things I would not do, regardless of whether you've known me forever or not. So I would say always come to a very strong value position. It does matter. Okay, Feoluwa, hi. How do you manage this?
Let me speak. I have a little contribution to that. So, talking about getting to with regards to Mary's question. So for instance, for me, when I was organizing the Business of Law conference, in the first year, that's 2019, Mrs. Fumi Roberts was somebody that I had never met before. I do not know her before, and it was on LinkedIn we met, and I wanted her to be part of the conference. And because over time on LinkedIn, I've shared several articles. There are some that I've even had to tag her in and to ask for a contribution. And I think there was this particular article that I shared on a blog that I used to be a columnist for them. And I just posted the link to the article on my LinkedIn page. I didn't know that Mrs. Roberts had seen that article and she had read it and she got 1 or 2 values from it. I didn't even know. It was some other person that told me much, much later. But by the time I reached out to her saying that, "Ma, organizing so and so conference, please, I would like you to be one of our panelists for the conference." And prior to that time, there's been no relationship with her. I do not know her. But she gladly accepted and she came down all the way from Ibadan for the conference at her own cost. We didn't pay anything. I didn't have to pay her for it. I didn't have to do anything. She came at her own cost, but it was because she had seen that over time, she had seen that, okay, they value this Busola is bringing. There is something about her that, that speaks of value. So most times you don't need to really warm up, that much, but you need to, come from a place of value, like Karika had said, and Mrs. Robert had also said. People need to see that there is there's a value that I will even get from also coming on your platform. I won't only be doing you a favor, but I would also be getting a value from you. So I think the core of it is value. What have you been able to, and how have you projected yourself over time also? So you may be offering value, but at the same time, you may not also be projecting yourself, in a good light. So how do you project yourself, and then what value are you also, bringing to the table? So that's just my little contribution.
Thank you. Fantastic. It's a fantastic, contribution. Okay, so if Oluwa says, how do you manage networking with the opposite sex as a young, attractive lady, advances, all of that? Men are more receptive. Men are more receptive to you. Okay, number one, when it comes to networking with men, right? For me, when it comes to men, I am very, very, very professional. Because men, a lot of times, most times men look at women not all men, but quite a number of men just look at women as, oh, any girl can be gotten. That's what I have seen so far. So you always need to come extra professional, right? Extra professional. So if we women, you are professional, women, you need to be ×3 professional, right? If I'm having a meeting with a man or all of that, first of all, I would not be, how I dress is going to matter. I would take special appearance, to how I dress, right? I'm going to dress, very neutral, because nothing, with all of this, some men will still do the worst, but I'm just saying that, number one, on your own part, ensure that, you're not, because you see women that, I'll see some girls that their skirts short, cleavage is showing, and you say a guy is hit, of course he will hit on you. Your appearance alone already shows that you're available for him to hit on. Do you understand? So I would say do your own part. That's like, ensure that how you dress, all of that, very good. Number two, when you're talking to men, always make it a value thing. always make it value, value, value. Like keep the conversations value oriented, right? Nothing about going to your personal, no. Keep it, I mean, if you guys evolve and become friends, yes, but for the very first few conversations, keep it at value, right? Keep it at value. Even when they try to make advances at you, keep it at value. There are many men that have tried to, make advances at me, but I keep it at value. Sometimes, like for example, in my own case, there are quite a number of men that, obviously they will try to make advances at you and all of that. I will stick to the, first of all, I never go for meetings with men alone. I try to always manage the situation, right? And even in cases when they even still, make advances at me and all of that, right? And they still do not want to take the value part of it, I just let it be and I let it go for a while. After a while, when is value, demand is value, you have value to offer, right? They will come and then they'll keep it business as usual. But you've shown that, see, I have boundaries and I would not go beyond these boundaries, right? So I would say that do your own part, ensure that, nothing about you is very suggestive. Number two, learn to stick to value. Learn to stick to value. I've seen so many girls that, your conversations, why are you talking to him on WhatsApp? Why are you picking his calls after 9 o'clock? Keep it very professional, extremely professional, so that they know that, see, Karika and professionalism, they're like this. Do you understand? If you call Karika at 9 o'clock, she's not going to answer you. At best, send an email. Do you understand? So you need to put those things in place. You need to put those rules in place, because as a woman, the higher you go, you will meet all these things, but you need to put all those things in place. And that's why I said start from you. Understand that you're valuable. There are people that have talked to me maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. They've tried to hit on me. I didn't answer. I continued doing what I was doing. And when you get when they see that, oh, this person has value to offer, and I actually do need her service and her expertise, they will come. I mean, men are also very business oriented. Do you understand? So they will stick to the value part of it and say, Karika, don't forget that she's not going to answer you. That's the kind of thing you want, so you'll be tested, they will try to hit on you, but keep your, focus on your value, focus on the value that you have to offer. Let the conversation be very, very business and professional. Have rules, have boundaries. You don't speak calls after 9 o'clock. What are you saying? Except is your, for example, now even if my boss, when I was working, even if it's my boss, that my bosses don't send me email, even if they do, it is email, or they stick to the value. Oh, Karika, this just happened on the rig. How can we, whatever? Oh, hi, whatever, I'll reply you within 2 hours. Let me resolve it. That's it. We're not saying, hello, how are you? Hope you slept well. No, nothing like that, right? So keep it very, very value oriented. Okay. Mrs. Roberts, would you like to add something to this part of it, to this question? Is she here?
Yes, she's here.
I don't think she heard me. I hope we answered your question. I wanted to ask if Mr. Robert wanted to shed some more light to it. Thank you, Lushala, for what you said. Yes, because it's very true. I see a lot of...
What was the question? I missed out a bit of that.
Okay, so she was talking about how do you network with men? How do you network with men? That she's an attractive young lady. She reaches out to people and, and try to network with them. And after a while, they will drift and start making advances that can be quite sickening, and that she just doesn't want to reach out again. And that the twist is that more men are more receptive to her than women, that she should just give up on networking. So, and that's why I told her that number one, she needs to understand that she needs to start from herself, right? How she dresses.
I
how
actually
she
heard your comments, but I didn't hear the question very well.
The question. Okay.
Yes, but,
okay. So yes, that's the question.
It's a fact of life. Believe me, there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to keep coming and coming. And that is why you have to define who you are and what your values are. Once you are very clear about that, there will be a way you can turn those men into your friends. Not all of them. Some of them are so crude, there's nothing you can do about them, but you find ones about, by the time they know what you stand for, they would respect you. So you have to make a choice. Do I want their respect or do I want anything else from them? So believe me, we've all been through it. It's a fact of life, but you have to know how to deal with it. But one thing I always say is that don't shut them out. Just make them your friend at the end of the day. By the time they know that this is what you stand for, because the key thing is that they have this men's club. The moment one of them gets you, is going to go to that old men's network and tell them about it. And then the next one is going to try it again. And the third one is going to try it again and again and again. But if from the very first one you stood your ground and you make them realize that this is not what I am at. And believe me, it is not all contacts you want to turn into business opportunities. If that contact does not turn into a business opportunity today, by the time you earn his respect, that business opportunity would come. And if it doesn't come, so what? The world is so big. So don't think that you can only get it. Believe me, I have more male friends than I have female friends. But it takes time and it takes a lot of discipline and making sure everybody knows what you stand for. If you're even too busy to answer some calls, if you set clear boundaries, you cannot call me at this time. You receive a call at work and you don't answer. You are setting the boundaries and they would understand and they will respect you. With time, all these things shall come and they shall pass. But it depends on you. You are going to work at it, or you're not going to shut anybody out of your life. But those that are obnoxious and don't want to take no, just pack them. There are decent men. There are more decent men out there than indecent men.
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope that validates Karika's point, but believe me, it's a fact of life and you cannot run away from it. Who are the decision makers? Who are the ones who bring out the most opportunities? And that is why we women must fill a space where we can help one another. We women must take responsibility for one another. The era of when, women don't like lifting other women up, it has gone. I know so many people out there who are willing to pour themselves out into you young ones. Not all of them are that wary as you are, but set clear boundaries and believe me, it will be respected. But you have to be consistent about those boundaries. You have to do it once for all. You have to be consistent.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Roberts. And thank you, Karika. I agree with your views as well. If I may just add a little bit, you know, one of the things I've learned in the course of growing up as a young lady surrounded by so many men is you have to carry yourself confidently. There's a way one of my female mentors put it that quite caught my attention and stayed with me. She said, if you appear as a victim in a workplace, two things will happen. They will either send you for coffee or all the praise in the room will wait for break time to pounce on you. Either way, you are worse off than if you came to the table as a professional young lady who believes you're entitled to be there, you have a right to be there, and you sit there and do your work professionally. What I tend to tell a lot of my female colleagues, because my entire team in the office until last quarter of last year was female. We are persons first, not women. So I tend to forget when I walk into a place that I'm female. I just do what everybody is doing, men and women alike. And we need to carry that. I know for us, it's a bit of a cultural thing. women want to pull back a little bit, you don't want to be too forward. If that's your nature, it's fine. So long as you don't have a sticker on your forehead that says vulnerable, because that's very attractive to any prey. So it's very important to try to strike that balance. And like Mrs. Roberts said, if you are known to be a particular kind of way, that information will go around very quickly. And you will find from 10 people hitting on you at events, it will dwindle down to 2, 1 maybe, you know, and people that just can read your body language from afar and know I'm approachable for business only. And then you find that there are less minds to navigate in spite of the fact that the crowd is still the same. That's my contribution.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Somebody had asked, what's the difference between personal, operational, and strategic, right? So your personal network, like I said, you know, your friends, people that you have cordial relationships with and all of that, right? Your operational network, people that help you get your job done, you know, people in your industry, people outside your industry, just general people that you talk to, you know, that are not exactly, anybody that's not in your personal network is in your operational network. Your strategic network are people that they're like stakeholders that you need, that would help you get things done. So for example, now, WinBiz is a strategic network, you know. I mean, and when you get to WinBiz, you can now find that, oh, you can have people in your personal network there. But WinBiz is a strategic network. Going for like meeting up with investors to invest in your business, that's a strategic network. Do you understand? People, so it's more strategic, it's more planned, right? Obviously, you still have to be very genuine as a human being, but there's a goal, it's targeted. So that's different now, right? Okay, so let me see one more question because I actually have to, I think that everybody here has, okay, thank you for, yes, everything Mrs. Roberts said, everything Zelaki just said, very true. Define your boundaries, show up as a professional. These things will happen and they'll continue to happen. Men are hunters naturally, so there's really nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is how you project yourself and you show up, right? So, okay. Usala, yeah. I think, okay, one more question. What if you are great with online networking but scared of real life interactions? Why are you scared of real life interactions? I'm asking you back. I mean, if you're not, I mean, I would say this because again, I need to, like I said, these things, there are levels to it and there are layers to it, right? Networking is also not very, I mean, there's some things that are not very generic. So one of the things I would tell you to ask yourself is that, why are you scared? You should take inventory, be retrospective about your own life. What is it about online networking that makes me comfortable, that that real life interactions does not make me comfortable? Is it the fact that for some people it's maybe how they feel like, oh, maybe it's their looks or their appearance or their addiction or whatever? So I would tell you that look for what you think, because I'm asking you now, but you've not said anything. If you answer, maybe I can answer, but since I don't know, because it's quite vague, I would say that, you know, look inwards and ask yourself, what's that thing that makes you great online, but in real life, you know, you are worried? Is it being shy? Is it you not knowing what to say? And then work on it. And if you want to have further discussions, you can send me a DM on @Republic on Instagram. Okay.
Then somebody is asking.
All right, people.
So for just one last question, Olu asked that, how do you manage to sustain all your networking relationship? That how do you go about it? How are you able to sustain it?
Oh, that was the first question I answered.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But then I talked about being intentional. Okay, Olu said there's being intentional. I talked about the fact that there are seasons and there are times. I talked about also setting time aside. you know, to reach out to people. So for example, now Happy New Month, it's an excuse to just reach out to people, right? Or sometimes just saying hi, I thought about you, right? So I would say that set out time. For me personally, I set out time to talk to people, even if it's 2 hours in 2 weeks. You know, that I'll say, okay, these 2 hours, or when I'm in traffic, you know, I'm always trying to look for how to maximize my time. When I'm in traffic, I'm not the person driving. Okay, at the back of the car, instead of me just sleeping or anything, I'll just reach out to people. Send general. I can even send general text message, not generic messages, because for me, I like to make things very personal. But I would send, "Hi, you hope you are fine." I can send like maybe 20 people at the same time. Switch off my phone and sleep off. When at least I've checked on you, it's the thought that matters, right? So I would say be intentional, set out time, and the truth is that you cannot talk to everybody at the same time. It's almost impossible. You're a human. You're one person, right? If not, are you not going to live your own life and do things you want to do? You know. But I would say audit your network from time to time. I've not spoken to Busola in a while. Okay, it's June now. This year I've not said I will say hello to her. You know, so do stuff like that, right? Leverage social media. For me, you don't always have to talk to people. Like their posts, comment on their posts. It is a way to engage. You know, LinkedIn, their articles. Oh, fantastic! This was a great article. Your face is in their. I mean, the thought of you will be in their head. Do you understand? That's how you keep engaging. Just find little ways to engage, right? Okay. All right, Busola, over to you.
Thank you so much. I think this was supposed to be for 2 hours, but we are way as in there. This is 9:10 p.m. That's 3 hours, over 3 hours of great value and great knowledge, a whole lot of lessons learned. Thank you so much, Karika. As always, you're always a vibe, the energy, the fire. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've gotten a whole lot of value.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Roberts.
So people, if you are thinking about growing or building your personal brand, Karika is your plug. You would do yourself great value, you know, connecting with her and reaching out to her for her to help you grow your personal brand. And one key thing that resonates with me from all that has been shared tonight is the fact that we should see ourselves as persons of value. See yourself as, you know, someone who has great value and then offer value. And at the same time also, do not be scared or do not be reluctant to invest in yourself. I think that's one thing a whole lot of us, particularly as lawyers, we need to take away from this conversation tonight. Be willing, be ready to invest in yourself. The cost, no amount, you know, should be too high for you to invest in yourself, because it's a seed and definitely you will reap the harvest as long as you continue to do that. So thank you. It's been a pleasure hanging out with everyone here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have one more webinar, and that's going to be the end for our series of webinar in capacity building for lawyers during this corona season. But the truth is, we've heard today we have to invest in ourselves. The next webinar is not going to be free. It's going to be paid, because in fact, it's not going to be a webinar. It's going to be a 2 days course, and we're going to be discussing career pivoting and strategy. A whole lot of people have reached out to me saying they are stuck in their career. Some are saying they do not know the way forward. Some are even afraid that, you know, post-COVID, they may no longer be able to keep their jobs. So we need to discuss, we need to we need to strategize, you know, on how you can pivot your career, the next thing you can do, how you can move from one phase to the other. I have been able to pivot my career, moving from law firm, you know, to working in an organization, and now running my own business and law firm at the same time. So there are a whole lot of, you know, trainings, a whole lot of things that I've done to be able to do that. So how can you also pivot your career? What strategy can you have in place? We're going to have HR practitioners take us, and we're also going to have 2 lawyers who have been able to navigate and, you know, do well with their career would also take us. This will be in either 2 weeks or in 3 weeks time, but we'll put out an announcement as usual. Just watch out for it, and also check our newsletters. If you are not on our mailing list, reach out to us so that you can get on our mailing list, and you'll always get all of our communication. So thank you everyone for hanging out with us here. Thank you so much, Mrs. Robot. Thank you so much, Ma, for always giving of yourself and of your time. Thank you also,
It's a
Laura.
pleasure.
Thank you, Kaika.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Mrs. Robert. Thank you so much for
Thank you very much, Mrs. Robert.
Having me.
Thank you, Mrs. Robert. Thank you,
I think we
Laura.
can unmute ourselves.
Thank you, Mrs. Robert.
Thank you very, very much.
Laura, thank you,
Thank you,
Mrs. Robert,
Karika.
and thank you, Busola
Thank
and Karika.
you. Thank you
So much.
Thank you, Mrs. Robert. Thank you, Mrs. Bika.
Can we also
Thank you
share
so much,
you.
Mrs. Robert. Alakija.
Thank you so much, Mrs.
I want
Robert.
to save
Thank
our
you, Mrs.
indulgence. Can we share, our lessons, everything we have learned tonight? Can we go on Instagram, on LinkedIn? Let's share with people. Let people know we've got value. Talk about SLB. Please promote SLB. Let people know we've got value, and let more people also come for, this kind of value we've also. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a great time hosting.
Thank you, everybody.
Busola Ajala.
Thank you.
Signing out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everybody. To all the participants.
Yeah, thank you very much, Busola. Good one. Well done.
Thank you, Busola.
Thank you, Busola.
Thank you so much, Busola. Thank you so much to all our facilitators. We're really grateful.
Expecting the details for the paid webinar.